Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to April 4th, 2024. This is the NDA Podcast. I'm Rob D, aka Sketchcraft. The NDA Podcast is where I draw things that I can't show you because they're under NDA. Now, in this case, I can tell you what I'm drawing. Spawn Kills Every Spawn, 5-issue miniseries starting this summer from Tom McFarlane Productions. I'm right like at the end of it, like I'm just getting the end of it done. But I can't show you. What I can show you is something I've done in the past. I'm gonna put that behind me while we talk about art. We're gonna talk about the art that's gonna be behind me. If you want to talk about anything, man, you want to talk about the Fantastic Four art that came out today. You want to talk about let's not talk about Star Wars. I don't talk about Star Wars. I don't talk about anything but Star Wars. And politics. We're not doing that here. Other than that, you let me know. Let's put up Little Rob. Little Rob, where are you? There he is. And let's put up Knuckles. That's what we're watching today. Knuckles, color pencils. This is a commission, 3-part commission I did. A triptych, one would call it, where they all connect together. Featuring Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles, and Tails. This a few years ago, all in color pencil. Because I do so love the texture of color pencil. I know it's pretty popular on the internet to just take some alcohol and blend it all together, make it smooth, but no, not here. Not here. We keep the texture. We keep the texture. I like it. It takes a while to do though. Takes a little while to do. But look at the results, man. I could look. I don't like looking at my marker stuff and my digital stuff 50-50. I look at the color pencil stuff all the time. So for me, what I like looking at. So it's worth the trouble. It's worth the trouble. If you're wondering what kind of color pencils I use here, these are polychromos. Polychromos. And some of the black outline there is a zebra ballpoint pen. Ballpoint pen for the super blacks. Which allows you to, you know, sort of shade in versus flat ink, you know. Like this little scowl. I think a little scowl on Knuckles. Thought that came out well. Alright, I'm going to take a second while everyone gets in here and take a photo so I can promote the show on the old Instagrams. Here we go. Let's just take a photo. So I got this right here, right? And then watch, I want to post with the camera. Watch it, buddy. Right? It's a dumb face, but let's go for it. Let's try that one. Alright, that worked. Oh, and my phone's gonna die if I don't plug this sucker in. Always right when you gotta promote something, or post a video, or turn on Waze. That's when you realize you don't have much power. Oh man, I wish YouTube gave you like a set link, you know, just for streaming. Everything's sort of tied to the individual video, but it'd be really great if it just had, you know. Yeah, Mandikas is there. It's not updating right now, guys. For some reason, the chat isn't updating right now. Let me refresh chat. See if it loads in. No. No, it did not. So I will have to keep the chats open on my other computer. Good to know. Good to know. I see you, Itchy. Itchy, you're up here. Mandikas is in the house. We're good. Good there. What am I paying for multi-streaming if it won't even... So much fun. Okay, there we go. And we'll paste the link. Itchy there, it's loading in. It's always fun to hang out with you in your stream. How are you? I'm good. How are you? One more paste and I can get to work. There we go. It's gonna keep playing, folks. Ignore this. This all comes from real-time videos that I have in my YouTube channel. I just speed up, and then the headers are kind of still in there. So it's a nice little promotion for shopsketchcraft.com, right? You get a little ad break right there. Hello, Bob. Hello, Bob. From YouTube asks, am I a freelancer? How is going the gaming industry in concept art? I am a freelancer, and I couldn't tell you right now in concept art because I'm not working on any games. We just shipped Berserk Boy, an indie game we did took us almost 4 years to get that game out the door. That's on Nintendo Switch right now and Steam. But the last game I worked on from a studio was, 3 years ago going on now, man. So I couldn't tell you. No one hits me up to work on games since Crash and Spyro and Overwatch. I guess, that's the way it is. Right now I'm drawing a comic book series called Spawn Kills Every Spawn for Todd McFarlane. That's what I'm doing. But if you're a game studios and looking for an artist who, can draw you some awesome stuff, you let me know. Yeah, no. as with most things in my career, I'm sort of an island unto myself. You know, I really don't travel in too many artist social circles. Not that I don't want to. I constantly hang out with artists whenever I can. It's just, you know, the way it works. Itchy says, is it the second iteration of Spawn? Second iteration. Second iteration. What do you mean, second iteration? I'm at the last 2 pages. I'll be on the last page of the 4th issue tomorrow out of 5 issues. But it does not look like the previous books, if that's what you're wondering. It looks like it was Spawn kills everyone originally. Now it's Spawn kills every Spawn, so it's definitely a different take on that material for certain. Itchy says, yeah, game development was tough. Developing games only have that. Right. There was gameplay that had to be refined, level design that had to be redone, you know, because you play test and you just like, this doesn't work, it's not fun, or it's tedious, or it could be like this. We had a publisher once that wanted us to turn it into a Metroidvania, you know, that's like, you can't just turn a game into a Metroidvania, man. Like, kind of design around speed runs. Not really Metroidvania, you know, but they're like, we need another. I'm like, yeah, so that was a whole thing we had to fight. You know, then there's budgets, you know, and you know, working within the budget, and sometimes you have to work beyond the budget. Sometimes the budget runs out, but you still got to make the game. So you know, there's a lot of time. It's not easy being an indie developer. I'll tell you, it was way easier making AA or AAA games than it was being an indie developer, for certain. I mean, the first time we had to put together a trailer, you know, I was told that they were gonna have the studio do like an animated trailer, like a 2D animated one, like kind of a Studio Trigger kind of style thing, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be awesome. And then it turned into like internally the publisher making the trailer, with their own art assets, and it was just going to be some story-based thing they were writing, no gameplay. And I was like, over my dead body, you know, like I literally almost quit the whole thing. It's a shame they paid me more attention than Zoo, the guy who was behind the whole game, you know, because I had some street cred, which I thought was really messed up. But I was like, look, I'm walking if you do that. So the first trailer, Zoo and I basically made, you know, on Zoom. You know, why he worked in Premiere, and I basically sat there. I did storyboard animatics, and then I would sit there and like tell him how to edit. It was kind of like editing over the phone. Like, okay, cut here, cut that frame, do this, add this, and then when we needed extra graphics and words, I just went and drew them, you know, to put them in for the trailer. Because I was determined that that game had a gameplay trailer. I don't like story-based non-gameplay trailers. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of it. You know, I never have been. Just show me the damn game. You know, and I'm like, we don't have, you know, the budget to be like, you know, see you next time with the next trailer. It's like we got to get them the first time out. So they fought us that publisher, and I'm not invoking their name because they're very litigious, but that publisher, no sir. No sirree, Bob. And she says, "Holy crap! Change the whole game for a new genre. It sounds so frustrating for us to." Yeah, we just refused to do it. It was that simple. You know, it wasn't their game. It was brought to them. They knew what they were buying. You know, and so, yeah, that's a real problem when you're looking for funding. And there's a really like. You know, right now with all the layoffs, everyone's like, "Oh man, indie should just go. These devs should just go indie." And I'm like, "Where's the money coming from? Our government doesn't really give out grants to develop video games. They should. You know, they should tax the living shit out of giant corporations, and then use that money. You know, some of that definitely from the gaming industry, like EA and Activision and all these people, to author grants." The developers, or at the very least UBI for everyone, so sort of a grant by proxy. Even the playing field. Then you wouldn't be forced to have these, what do you call it, parasitic publishers. Not all of them, but there are a lot out there. There are a lot out there who basically acquire these things hoping you kind of, and this is my opinion, I feel like they acquire these things hoping you will default and then they own your game. You know, this kind of existed in comics in the early to mid 2000s, where you would sign you'd pitch a comic to an indie publisher, and they would go, "Okay, great, we'll publish it, but we have the right to publish it so long as it stays in print or something like that." And they would just always like print up like 500 copies, and you would never get the rights to your comic book back. You know, real evil stuff. It's one of the reasons why. You know, one of the books I designed, Monstroids, never saw the light of day because of an argument over that. You know? She said, "Don't hate the player, hate the game," no pun intended. "For a background and value behind your work, they will listen to you to a certain extent, getting funds from publishers." Yeah. I mean, look, I never signed a contract with the publishers. I made certain I was contracted through Zoo in that game, you know, Berserk Boy Games, because I'm not going to sit here and, you know, I'm not dealing with, unless I don't have co-ownership of Berserk Boy. If I had co-ownership, it'd be one thing. Otherwise, I'm not signing with some weird publisher I've never heard of, you know. And I love Zoo. He knows I love him, but I warned him about that publisher before we started. You know, like, I knew this was a real problem, not just with them, but with gonna go some proven trend. Now, to be honest, I don't know, you know, what options he could have taken. I really don't. A lot of people are afraid to even speak up about developers because they don't ever want that coming back to them. And they get litigious. But in our case, it just so happened that the owner of the company passed away, and that changed the nature of our contract, and Zoo was able to kind of get out of it, you know? So good for him, you know? That's why I said, man, Zoo really made that project happen, you know? And I would never put that in like the main video because I don't want, you know, but here on the Knuckles Color Pencil NDA Podcast, sure, we got 9 viewers. So it's like, I would be willing to put together a demo to shop to a major third-party developer or publisher, a major developer. You know, if that were an option, and sometimes it is. I have friends in the industry, but other than that, if you are unable to do everything yourself, stick to demos. You know, stick to demos. Seriously, like, you know, build a good cult following if you can, right? That's the kind of the goal, and get people to, like, you know, support you through Patreon or buying your demos, or even taking your completed demo, you know, to maybe a kickstarting site just to get, you know, sound done or something, or to get, you know, licensing fees to blah 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 blah, or extra whatever. Not licensing fees, you know, to get music and stuff. Sorry, I was thinking of licensed music, you know, your own soundtracks and stuff. My brain is, I'm drawing complex things and talking about complex subjects at the same time, so you're gonna hear some brain farts. It just says, yeah, the Double Fine documentary on game development really showcases what the lifestyle of game development was like. You join their content and interviews from big time game devs from their hit. Yeah, Double Fine is a brilliant studio. Their documentaries are great. I've backed every one of the Kickstarters since day one. Tim Schafer, I've been a fan of his since Day of the Tentacle. You know, I bought an Xbox only because Microsoft saved Double Fine, and I do think COVID would have wiped them out. I mean, I really do. I think, as much as I'm against mergers, that one really saved the company. I'm looking forward to what they do next. Psychonauts 2 was my game of the year that year. I'm hoping they're making, if you haven't followed the Double Fine documentaries, they're all for free on their YouTube. Definitely watch them. Definitely watch the Psychonauts one, but if you watch Double Fine Adventure or Amnesia Fortnite, any of that stuff, you're going to get a better look into game development than you would ever get going to any school ever. Period. Oh, am I in the way again? Like, I'm going to move over to the right here. Transform. Flip horizontal. Let's move Rob over. I'm going to move me off camera just a little bit, so if I move over. There, I'm in here, but I'm not there. There we go. We're doing it live, folks. All right? So you can see the knuckles. Okay, there you go. Theo Dameron says Paramount needs to do a brand partnership with Sonic for the Knuckle Show where they can make a new sandwich called the Knuckle Sandwich. Yeah, I suspect Theo Dameron that you worked that one backwards with the chosen puns, right? I'll tell you a funny joke though about that kind of that precise term, Knuckle Sandwich, that is back in 2005. Kid humor was huge on generic t-shirts, and I started working at this t-shirt company, the real art department. You had to go in every day, you know, you got a computer, you draw and use Photoshop and whatever, you know, real art department. And they had a whole generics line. Generics is like just generic humor, like you know those t-shirts where it's like roll of toilet paper and it says, that's how I roll, you know, like that's a generic thing, right? So we had to do boys generics, and they told us that at the time it was like sister humor, like brothers versus sisters humor, you know. So like I did one because it was boys. We were in charge of the boys stuff. The girls were working on the girls. So it was that sexist at the time. Guys can't design girl shirts, but whatever, and vice versa. But so it was my first real thing there, and I had never designed a generic shirt. You know, I was like, okay, you know. So I put some brass knuckles on the shirt, and I said, "Feed your sister knuckle sandwiches." And they were like, "This is way too much." I'm like, "Too heavy?" You know, maybe if it was like a funny drawing. They're like, "No, let's tone that one down a bit." You know. Because that's why I no longer work there. No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. I was one of the best. I no longer work in t-shirts. I did it for 10 years. I no longer work in t-shirts because I did a Kickstarter in 2013 for some marble prints. I was trying to raise $500 to go to this convention. I had to go to Comic-Con to raise money. Okay, how do I explain this? So this job, I ended up going to a few different t-shirt companies, but I came back to that company, and I had drawn a Cintiq, and they were like, "Well, we're not paying for that because it's not necessary to the job." So before I got there, I went and bought a second Cintiq, so I had one at work. You know, it was ridiculous, and I literally spent my last $1,800. I spent all of my money. Because it's a long story, but I was out of money at the time. So I spent the last bit of money getting the Cintiq, got the job, did great. And a couple years later, that Cintiq, because it was used, I got it secondhand, it just died on the job. So I said, "Hey, you know, I've been here for a couple years, you know, sales on what I'm doing is pretty good. Could you guys cover, you know, the cost of the new Cintiq?" And they said, "No, because it's not necessary to your job." And I was like, fucking dicks. So I wanted to go to this convention out in Phoenix that I was doing okay at, but I normally went with the comic book company I was doing covers for, and they didn't want to take me anymore because they were like, I actually outsold them one year, and they got all butthurt about it, so they didn't want me to go in ever again. So I had to buy my own table. I said, "Hey, you know, the cost of the table for me was $500, and I figured I could go there and raise an extra $2,000 at the time." And so I said, "Okay, I'll do this Kickstarter for the money to travel, so I'm in the hole when I get there, right?" So I had these Avengers watercolor things. They're called Saucies. It was right when the movie came out, and there had already been fan art prints on Kickstarter. By the way, there was Street Fighter versus Sesame Street. There was a whole bunch, and they all raised about $500. I'm like, great, $500. That'll be awesome. So I did that, and in 24 hours, I had raised $10,000. So, that scared me, and Marvel decided to contact my employer because we had the Marvel license, right, for t-shirts. Sure, they looked up my name and saw I was attached to this company because I have a LinkedIn and whatnot. And I got dragged into a room, and first I was accused of stealing artwork, like I did that artwork at work. I'm like, no, I actually draw when I go home. I don't go to the Del Mar Fair, fucking party all night. I just draw when I go home. That's kind of how it works. So, long story short, they were gonna fire me, but I quit before that happened, and ended up going solo for a little while, and then I got a job back at another t-shirt company. Coincidentally, they had the Marvel license. And that company, Marvel found out somehow and got me fired again. So I just got tired. Basically, I got blacklisted from doing t-shirts because of Marvel's legal team for a Kickstarter. That, by the way, I canceled. I didn't even do it, you know? Like, they told me, you got to cancel. I'm like, okay, I'll cancel it. You know, but I let it go until the day of. I said, I'm not canceling today. I'll cancel it before it finishes. But I just want to see how much it would raise, you know, just to kind of, plus, you know, fuck them. But yeah, no, that's why I don't work there anymore, my friend. So I don't like bullies, you know, I don't like being bullied. The ME channel says Sick Style from Twitch. Thank you, ME channel. Hey, give me a follow on Twitch if you can, because I got no one following me there. I got 400 really righteous people, but everyone else is like, whatever. So appreciate it. Thank you. Near your art buddy. Near your art buddy. That's a name. Awesome. From YouTube says, man, I've been admiring your art since 2015 when I found you on DeviantArt. Your art is simply amazing for me. One of the best artists. Ah, thank you, Near. Thank you, Near. 2015. Yeah, I started my DeviantArt in 2005. Still post, guys. That DeviantArt got me the crash gig, so, you know. I just don't give them money anymore, but I definitely post there. Because I figure they're, you know, despite I said no AI, they're probably stealing all our shit anyway. And she says, wow, your stories sound like a movie. Man, my whole life has really weird cinematic moments to it that I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I'll tell you someday, not today, I don't want to get into it, but someday I'll tell you about my time in the Army. That was pretty weird too. And no, it has nothing to do with war. I was in before the war. I never fought, but I had a pretty cinematic experience. Theo Dameron says, sorry to hear that. Weird they would not let it go. No, that they were in the same building as this. It turns out the parent company. I was working for this company called Sea Life, and their parent company was based out of New York, and apparently they have offices in the same office as Marvel's legal team. So my guess is my former employer got tipped off, and then they told them, and then the legal team went down to their office. That's why they took it all. They were all weird. They never had a licensor come to their office. You know. By the way, that legal team at Marvel was dissolved when Bob Iger came back, by the way. I was laughing my ass off. I know the guy who got fired finally. Thank God, burn in hell. So, evil person. ME channel says, do I have the same username on all socials? Yes, I do. Same name. I gotta update my icon. The Twitch icon's my old drawing, but I'll update that today. But yeah, I'm Sketchcraft. Just go to sketchcraft.net and it has all the links to all my socials. It just says, so I guess Marvel isn't planning to pick you up for projects then. Marvel wouldn't even know who I was. Marvel's legal team was not Marvel Studios or even Marvel Comics. They were a third-party company that, you know, was dedicated to Marvel. So they wouldn't even know who I was. That's the ironic nature of it, you know? So. I mean, it was funny. They got really mad because I quoted back to them their own guidelines to me. Because when we were on, you know, in the early 2000s, sometimes people would put fan art on a shirt thinking they could just take fan art because, oh, it's Spider-Man. And I'm like, yeah, someone drew that. Marvel doesn't own that. And every now and then, some wise-ass salesperson would be like, no, they don't own Spider-Man. We can print it. So Marvel had to reiterate to all the licensors over and over again, we don't own the artwork. We own our IP. We can't just take people's fan art and put it on shirts. It's going to cause a legal issue. Walmart had to get involved. It was a whole thing. So I just reminded them, you don't own my fan art. You own the IP. And there's no, you know, like that's kind of how that works. They didn't like that. But don't call me into a, like, I had to go in this giant room. It was hilarious. This giant office. And they had my Kickstarter on the wall in real time with the numbers ticking up. And the vice president of the company was like, what is this? I'm like, oh, that's a Kickstarter. I didn't even know what Kickstarter was, man. This is 2012, 2013, you know? They had no idea what this was, you know? Nothing. No clue. And they were just looking at me like, whatever. Yeah. The most bonkers part about it is my art director who was in that office with me. He ended up leaving after I left eventually because he got tired of that place. And the place I went to, see, like, he ended up working there. And when they fired me again, he was the same art director. He was the same guy. I was like, they're doing it again, dude. And he, you know, I can't, he has a family to feed. I don't expect him to stick up for me, but, you know, but I'm like, I mean, you're not going to say anything about this to, no. All right. Well, now I know who my friends are. And I was friends with them outside of work. So it's like, yeah, everyone's friends until, you know, until it's their livelihood being affected. I don't hold it against them. I get it, but whatever. I have learned many a hard way, folks. Many a hard way how to navigate some of these things, you know. I never thought I would. As a kid, I wanted to be either an artist or a lawyer, and I didn't think I was smart enough to be a lawyer. But given my interactions with a lot of lawyers in this world, and there's some very, very, very smart ones, but the ones that generally work for the companies I work for are fucking morons. So, given that, I should have probably gotten a law. Like, you know. But I am not accruing any more student debt, so that's not happening. We come up with the free uni plan in this country. And, you know, I might quit all this. And my remaining years trying to exact a little justice in the world. But I am not going to accrue any more student debt. Itchy says, you have thick skin within your art journey. Want to write a book about your life or journey? Oh. I don't know. I don't know. Every artist wants to tell their autobiography. I'm the kind of guy who's like, man, do I need to? I just try to warn artists rather than be like, listen to my stories, look how hard I had it. It's more like a warning. Or like a, hey, if you're going through this, and you're not alone. Or when someone tries to tell you, you better not draw fan art because they'll sue you. No, they won't. I'd love to see them do it. You know? They'll give you a cease and desist and if they want to, and you can take it down, but they're not going to sue you. Now, if you sue them over it, you're going to lose that one. You know? But what they won't tell you is they know they don't own the art. Otherwise, take all the fan art and just make a book every year, Marvel. Don't even give credit to people. Right? It's all yours. See what happens. Same with DC or anyone else. I'm not just picking on them. Just what it is. And with everything itchy, one project at a time, right? Right now, it's spawn kills every spawn. I know I can't even think about another project right now. Unless it was Double Fine or Toys for Bob. Toys for Bob or Double Fine. I'd have to make some life choices. For certain. because I do love those companies. I don't really think any of the industry is looking for, in the gaming industry, is looking for just solo artists. I think they're looking for people who can make production ready assets and stuff, which is a shame because I definitely think this industry, like Marvel included and Star Wars, they should be making more games using spine with hand-drawn art, like, you know, Unicorn Overlord, Miramasa, like the Vanillaware games. But imagine a Joe Mad, you know, looking game, or, you know, pick any artist you really love. You know, like Nickelodeon should be making an Invader Zim game, you know, hand-drawn, all rigged up, you know. They should. Well, all these artists, you can't put them on, you know, projects that'll help sell stuff. Crazy. It is crazy. All right, we got 9 viewers. I want to do artist shout out. Artist shout out is where I give a shout out to some artists, and if you look in the show description, you will see links. You will see links. So I got a bunch of links in there, but I'm gonna give you 3 right now. You can kind of focus on, right? Give you a little, maybe somebody you don't know, maybe you've already heard it, you've forgotten that I mentioned it 100 times, but we're gonna do that during the day show. So let's just give you do some artist shout out very quickly. Let me grab the names. So, I want to give an artist shout out today to Marissa Pope. Marissa Pope's a cover artist. She was on the show the other day, actually. Kind of talked. I never had her on the show before, and then it crashed. Wonderful. Marissa Pope's really good. If you like Copic markers, and you like really like J. Scott Campbell style, like awesome female renderings and fun cosplay outfits, and she draws all that kinds of stuff. And I think she's doing stuff for Lady Death, too. She's definitely working with Brian Pulido. I'm certain it's Lady Death. I got to ask her about that. But we got a link right there to her Instagram, Mac_DeBarfo, right? So you go check out her Instagram. And also, let's give a shout out to Lauren Marshall. Lauren Marshall right now is drawing a Phantom series. Remember the character of Phantom, Billy Zane, purple suit and stuff? Apparently, big Phantom fans out in Australia. That's where she lives. She lives out in Australia. She just did a really great cover. Really great. Super great colors. Awesome layout. And she also draws some great turtles. If you love turtles, like really good street style fan art and everything, man, Lauren, definitely check out Lauren's stuff. So there's our artist shout outs for the day. I think I just finished this character. What am I drawing? Oh, I'm drawing the green booties. No, that's the socks, actually. Sock rings. I think I made them look more like rings than socks. Oh, I gave his shoes the plushy ribbon. You know, the ribbon that's on the end of plushies, the tag? I gave his shoes plushy tags. Gonna have to do. Gonna flip. Save. One figure down. 3 more to go. Where's my spawn, Ruffy? He's hiding. Emmy's channel says, after looking at your socials, I just realized I have some of your art in your personal inspiration folder. Thank you so much. I'm here, I'm there, I'm ever. No, I appreciate that. It is funny though sometimes, Emmy, that sometimes when I'm looking up reference for something, it ends up showing me my own art more than once, and I'm like, I don't want, you know, and it has nothing to do with what I'm looking at. Like, it's just tangentially. It's like it must know I'm looking for something I'm going to draw. You know, it's like, please stop doing that. But my favorite part of game development, I've said before, is, well, development. It's the ideation phase where anything can happen. But I really love designing like the worlds and all the creatures and NPCs, and you know how to design NPCs as like play mechanic stuff. Like if you got a character who jumps on things, you want to design the bad guys to like to entice you to jump on them or to stop you from jumping on them, things like this. Like, so I'm hoping that at some point when I'm done with all this comic book stuff with Todd, I can do my own art books or comic stuff that kind of focuses on that sort of thing, you know? So I can, even if no one's like hiring me to work on a game, I can kind of put down what I would do in a game and do like, you know, a project or whatever. Basically draw it all. I think what I'm trying to say is draw out all of my ideas for games as like an art book or something. You know? That's basically it. This is getting to the point where I'm going to have to switch to inking. All of my brushes are available in my store. Word of advice, when you start to draw really tiny, it's best to switch to the inking brushes versus drawing brushes. What I'm doing now, I gotta draw tiny stuff, and my drawing brushes are set to 70% opacity. They don't have the type of edge that I need. I have to switch, basically draw it in inks. Basically it. That's basically it. Prefer to draw my drawing brushes with semi-transparent nature of it. This gives it a look that's very similar to traditional inks, but I've just learned that when you get tiny enough, you gotta move to the vision ink. But I gotta get this done tonight. Already behind. Already behind. When I get behind, it's just I get behind. I can pull a little, like a no sleep once or twice a month, but it can't be any kind of regularity. Like, you get to a certain age and you're like, can't do that anymore. You know, now without serious life-changing repercussions. You know, in my 20s, I used to regularly get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you know. But at this point, like, I'm behind. I gotta just, when I'm at my peak, I gotta move faster. That's basically it. Although there is a spread. There's this giant convention spread that they showed off at the last con. Where it's a spawn con where like there's all these, it's a convention for spawns, right? Like, and at the time I was drawing everything twice essentially, like full digital lines and then digital inks, and so I've since managed to go from digital lines, turning those into inks and adding ink textures on top. So I've sort of like cut a bit of the workout, especially I've cut a bit of the workout. But on that particular spread, the only way I could get it done and meet my deadline was I drew the inks. I was up for 24 hours. You know, 45, 44 years old. Let me tell you that didn't feel too good. Sometimes it's still, sometimes you still need to do that. For my own project, I would just take a week, you know. Actually, I had a week, but it took me forever to draw it because I just put so many characters in it. I need all this reference. It was just a real pain in the ass. Worth the effort, but it was not easy. Comic binge. This music though. Well, it's this or nothing. Paul, it's this or nothing. When's Paul gonna come back on? When do you think that'll happen? He says May. He likes to hang out every 6 months. Again, I'll state, folks, I find reds to be the hardest thing to do in color framing. Now, an all red character was certainly challenging. Hey, Jordantium 509 back. What's up, dude? How you doing? At the tail end of this page, I'm just drawing a bunch of characters. And I think on the... I'm going to start the background here. Is that? Oh, I'm still working on the greens. Verdantium says Knuckles is cool. It's one of his favorite Sonic characters. I should do a shadow sometime, shouldn't I? Banjo-Kazooie and Shadow. When's that movie come out? October? I should do one during the movie. Right?
Drawing chain. Who's drawing chain? Only drawing.
Marissa! I love all your flannels. So many of your stuff. Ah, I know. Look. The flannel crew, right, Marissa? Hey, there's Marissa Pope. She was in the artist shout out, if you guys remember. Links to her Instagram are in the information on the, well, I don't think Twitch posts that, Marissa, but they're all in the YouTubes and Facebook. In the YouTube description, that's where they're at. Jordanium says, many of your drawings have a gravity-defying look to them. Also very dynamic. Thank you. You should see what I'm drawing now. I'm literally drawing several characters flying in midair to attack a giant monster while buildings explode. And we all have capes and chains and spikes. You know, all that easy stuff that's really, really translates well to drawing when they scale small, right? All that stuff. I mean, when you got to draw teams at a distance dynamically, you really want to give them as many chains and spikes as possible. I highly recommend it. I'd make my life a little easier if I would just, you know, maybe, I don't know, use a brush for some of these spikes, but I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. I want all my spike chain. I want all my chains and spikes to have a hand-drawn feeling. I don't want them stamped. I'll stretch and squash those chains. Even when they're in silhouette. Yeah, Marissa, anytime you want to come on and chat, you let me know. You didn't jinx the channel. I figured out what the technical issue was, basically. It was having issues with the hard drive that was being used as a temp disk. And so I removed that problem. It sounds like a cool drawing. Oh yeah, I'm gonna stream it eventually. I'm recording right now while I draw. So you will get to see me draw this page. Yeah. Awesome. Lightbox. Ah, how adorable. I can't stare into a lightbox ever again. I did 5,000 frames of animation once, 2D animation in a lightbox. And if I ever look into a lightbox ever again, I will literally drown myself. See now, Jordanium, the big mistake I made with this was doing the whole background in the color pencil. I should have used marker and then color pencil over the marker. So, or now I would probably do watercolor as the background entirely, and then seal it with clear gesso, and then maybe some dry pastel on top. That's probably what I would do now. But I gave it a go. I will find a way to promote my comics, even if I can't share the artwork. They always go, I remember the last time I was working on books. They were like, yeah, you got to make sure you promote this the month before release. I'm like, a month before release. This is 2009 and 10. I'm like, I mean, I may as well fart in the wind. I mean, they're not. Like what am I supposed to do with a month before release? You got to tell everyone every day for a year, you know, and then you got to have artwork to share after release, so you can let them know where to go buy it, you know, and into the trade paperbacks, you know. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Unless it's like one of those like strips you can put up all the time, you know what I mean? Like that's a whole nother thing. Then, you know, at least that's in people's face. But it's not gonna be in their face because, you know, contracts and stuff, or you just don't want people to see until it's ready. I get that, but I gotta be able to talk about. I gotta record, and then I'm gonna stream, blah 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 blah. I don't know, folks. Boy, that was a long chain. All right. Hey, is Paul still out there, or did he just come in to complain about the music? I wonder if Paul just tried to drop in. The one thing he doesn't like in this whole... Paul likes everything. The one thing he's got to comment on. Hilarious. Hey, there she is. Hey there.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, you're there. Hey, everybody, it's Marissa Pope.
Cool.
And you sent project
Hi,
lists
it's me.
in the messengers. Let me go see. I can't share this, all right? I gotta just like look at it.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Brian won't be very happy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cute?
Very cute. Is that going to come out around the time of year I think it would? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Easter?
Yeah.
What?
Well,
Next
I
year?
hope so. Yeah. I hope so. It might not be like till 2026. I don't know.
Right. Awesome.
I love drawing stuff like that. But yeah, I gotta light box it. We gotta blow it up, light box it.
You like the light box?
It makes things pretty easy. Like, if I don't have like a really intricate background, it makes things pretty easy. But like, if I'm doing like floral stuff where I have to draw like a bunch of flowers or plants or whatever, like I just kind of like block in the shapes and then like cross my fingers so I don't fuck it up.
Right. I have the same relationship with the light box that my dog has with the cone of shame.
Yeah, you just hate it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're doing animation, I'm sure.
Anything. It blew my eyes out. Like, I was so afraid when I first picked up the Cintiq that I was gonna have the same feeling, you know. But I'm really sensitive to light. Like I remember when I first met my wife, she was doing the belly dancing like thing, and there was outside at a college, and it was the brightest day ever. I had to stare at the dirt because I had spent all night working on the light box. couldn't like. And she was like, "Why is this
Right.
guy staring at
Like,
dirt
sorry,
while I'm
babe, I
dancing?" Yeah.
can't watch you.
Yeah. No, I have fun. I like to go outside and stare at dirt. That's my move. So,
Like, I really want to watch you do it in the dark. I want you. It's on you.
you're right.
Is this before you dating her or at like after?
Which is what? 1 second.
It was.
Repeat.
There
There you go.
I think you're breaking up. Hold
Am
on.
I breaking up? Am I breaking up?
Was before or after you started dating?
This was like right at the beginning. Yeah, like before. Like it's alright. You know, I'd say at the beginning.
Maybe not right now. Okay. So I already knew you then. Sorry, I can't do this and like talk at the same time.
Yeah, you gotta build up that memory. Muscle memory, there you go. They think it's easy doing this like talking while I'm working thing, you know?
Yeah. I can like if I'm doing like I can't like I super like I used to do like what you like you know like years ago now if you guys sketch covers and stuff like while I was inking I could not hold clear conversation and like you guys especially doing the face it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, what can you do? You know, I gotta stream and I gotta talk. That's how it works. So does Brian just like have you on retainer? He's like, I need 7 covers by next month. Get to it. Hello. You don't have to
like men's and stuff. Do what?
Yeah, a little bit of breakup. Definitely you. Not me.
Okay. Oh no, I just need to have the bag on. It's probably odd, but this never happened. I don't know. Maybe it's you. It never happens with, like with else.
Yeah. I'm
Here,
sorry.
let's-
You're definitely cutting out
you
every time
call
you
me
say
back and
something.
see if that fixes it.
Yeah. Let me call you back. Okay. Try it now. Discord, right? What are you gonna do?
Is that there?
Little bit. I'm assuming your phone or internet.
It's like lighting up a little bit. Yeah, it's like lighting.
Yeah, it's your phone. I get that business internet line, so
It's probably my phone. I have one. I have some bars. Yeah.
well, we'll give it a shot. If it don't work, no stress. You know what I mean? No stress. Always fun to have someone to chat with, though. But I was like, I wanted to ask Marissa all sorts of questions, and then the whole thing crashed. Guess that's not
It seems like
happening.
it's working okay.
Yeah, until you talk. Like I think it's like halfway through it, like cuts you off. I wonder if do you have voice limiter on yours, by the way? I wonder if you got a voice limiter. Like on your Discord settings, is it doing like automatic in the voice and stuff? Because you should turn all that off. Because sometimes it cuts it off to do like yeah. So like in the settings on Discord, it has under voice and video. There's this like there's all these settings set to like automatic gain control. You want to turn off all the automatic stuff, like automatic determinate input sensitivity. I leave it all off because sometimes it can just like there's like a noise clipper, like what do you call it? What's it called? I'm looking at it now. Echo cancellation. You want to turn all that stuff off. Noise suppression. You want none. Because yeah.
What do you say? Go into clips.
It's under voice and video.
Activity?
Yeah, voice and video or voice. Yeah. And then you'll see like noise suppression. Turn that off. Echo cancellation. Turn that off.
Echo cancellation.
Automatically determine input sensitivity.
Yeah. Auto gain control. What's that?
Yeah, turn that off. That controls like how loud you're gonna be. I have limiters on here. Like I have all sorts of
voice activity. Did you say turn that off too?
Yeah, I turn all that off. It may or may not help, but it definitely can cause like your voice to get clipped off and stuff. It's using like its own AI. So. I know you gotta work. You can't got time to mess with your phone.
There, I turned off some settings. Is that better?
Yeah, I think a little better. But we'll see if it cuts you off while you're talking. Then we'll just know if it's your ISP. But it's always good to have that stuff off anyway. Have you been to the Coffin Comics headquarters where they got the whole coffin roof and stuff? Yeah, you clipped out. Let me disconnect and reconnect. Yo! Can you talk?
Rob.
Yeah. 1 second. Hey, how about that?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let's see how long it lasts.
Yeah, I know. We'll get it worked out. So have you been to the Coffin Comics headquarters where they got the whole coffin roof and stuff?
Yes, it is awesome. Like they just moved and their headquarters is amazing.
Nice.
It is so cool. Like it looks like a compound. Like it looks like a witchy compound from like the outside. Like you're about to enter like the cult leader's lair or something. But it's
by the
really
way,
cool.
Yeah, you're coming in great now. So I think those voice settings help.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So because it sounded like it was just cutting you off like by a limiter or something. But yeah, that's awesome. It kind of, like I said, it reminds me of like Toys for Bob just kind of like shuttled their headquarters because I guess everyone works remote now, which is fine. I mean, I kind of, you know, obviously, but I do miss those kinds of like fun headquarters, you know. Like I was like, man, artists never gonna know what that's like, and cool that they got something, you know what I mean? Like when you're like, oh, wouldn't it be great to go see the image offices, and you're like, yeah, it's just like a building, like it's not, you know, it's not themed and stuff, you know, like.
Yeah, no, his is really themed, like their basement area where like their bar and lounges, like, oh my god, they have such cool stuff down there. Like they have these like really cool like skull lamps, and everything is black and like velvety and red and like super gothic, and it's just like it's such a cool place. Like whenever they do Swarmfest, they do like the HQ tours and stuff, and it's so worth going to go do that.
I remember you know, in the early 90s when they were first going to Comic-Con, and at that time everyone was like standing in line for image stuff, right? Like I mean, we're talking lines out the door down the street. So to gain attention, they used to walk up and down the aisles in full costume, carrying a coffin and just yelling out, you know, like monsters and stuff. And people were just like, what the fuck are these people? You know, like these guys annoy the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, those are the ones they color with markers, you know, Evil Ernie. Like, yeah. But they would go chaos, like they just yell it out, and people were just like, what the hell? I hope there's got to be footage of it.
Yeah, they like super.
You know?
Yeah, no, Brian doesn't give a fuck. Like he's just like he's out here to do his thing and have fun. Like and have fun doing it.
That's what I loved about Comic-Con when I was a kid, because I was like, you're not going to see that at Walmart or the mall, you know, like
no.
But the 90s, like average person going there to like buy some books they think they're going to pay off their college tuition with them was like, what is this? I'm like, it's Comic-Con, shut up, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same. I don't think from like the stories and stuff that I've heard from other people that used to go like back in the day, it's just like not the same anymore. It's more like business oriented, I think. A lot of like networking and like getting to know people, and like there's some people that are there to like have fun and stuff, but I do think it's like a lot of networking and stuff now versus when I think that people used to go there to have fun.
Hard to network though when you know you're at your artist booth all day, right? Like I used to go. Yeah. So it changed for me when I was a kid. It was more like, when I say kid, when I was in high school in 92 through 96, 97. I mean, you could meet editors. You know, you could bring portfolio reviews and stuff. And then around the time of the Spider-Man movies, that kind of went away. But the indie publishers were still doing pretty well, so you could still take your book and shop it around to an indie publisher. And then eventually they stopped bringing anyone who would sign a deal to these things. You know, they were like, no, we're just here like selling. It was like selling exclusives. You know, we got this exclusive, that exclusive, and I know artists still go to network, and I know but it's like I'm always like, unless you kind of already know someone, you know. Or they are already aware of you, it's very difficult, I think, to kind of these days to use cons in the same way I used to use them. I mean, I got my job at Play Magazine because I was at Wizard World. You know, I was just sitting there, and the guy that was the assistant to the publisher was just looking at my art, was looking at all my game stuff, and he's like, "Man, would you like to work for Play?" And I'm like, "I would." You know, like that. That's not happening. Like I had the editors from Dark Horse at the time because I did this Clone Wars style piece, but I did the the Blue Jedi. It was like Ayla, Sakura, whatever, the blue one, the Twilight. I did like a sort of a Disney-ish style with her, like with the lightsaber fighting all these clone troopers and stuff. And they were just like, "Can you draw like in the regular Clone Wars style?" And I'm like, "I sure could, but I won't." Like I was like an asshole, you know, like but I'm certain if I had said yes, I would have been drawing Clone Wars comics, you know. So like I just wonder how often that's happening now, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if it's really happening like as much because I mean, like Mike doesn't even get people like coming to his table like asking for things, like asking for like portfolio reviews or anything. Like I haven't seen like really anybody come around with like their actual work, like showing anything. But you know, like a lot of stuff is digital now anyway. So if anybody ever shows me anything that they're working on, it's always on the phone. It's not like a traditional art like type thing.
You know Natalie, was it Natalie, right? She's the one who does like the really cool like photorealistic like prints and covers and stuff. Just like painted stuff.
I'm not sure.
Natalie Dark. Her and her husband. I used to call them the nicest couple ever. Right? They were like the nicest people I've ever met. Like almost too nice. Like I don't know if I trust you. No, she's
Right.
yeah. I'll get her last name, folks. I'll put her in the artist shout out sometime. But she does like a lot of photorealistic, like highly rendered stuff, and she's worked for all the people. But at this, it was the 2010 Phoenix Con. I was there with Tom, right? And her husband was shopping her portfolio around, and he was like, "Yeah, this is my wife," you know. And I was like, "Let me tell you, buddy, her art is dope, but I refuse to give you a portfolio review for your wife's work. So she needs to come down and represent herself."
Yeah.
You know, like.
Right.
I refuse to do it, and I'm not letting Tom do it either. I draw the line at that. Like, come on, her art is dope. She's not gonna, you know, she was just nervous, and she came down, and then I was like, "This is awesome," and I was like, "Tom, you gotta hire her," you know. Tom's like, "Stop spending my money," you know. But he definitely gave her work, and then, you know, she obviously is taken off from there. So, but yeah, I mean, that whole like having other people rep you.
It wasn't Jen Brumall, was it?
No, this is before Jen, but I know Jen, dude. Jen's great. No, it's like Natalie Dark. She's like a dark something. Like she was like, I want to say Dark Child. That's not it. But I'll send you the link when I find it. You know, I am the worst with names, so please, folks, don't get mad at me.
Me too.
Yeah. So, but no, she's really great.
No,
but
I can definitely be the worst with names.
We were. Did you ever see Better Call Saul? The TV show?
Yes.
You know the first episode with the Kettlemans? How they're all like super nice to their family.
Yes.
Yeah, that was them. Like it was. I was like, oh no, they're nice. Like, like they're gonna make me. I'm a little like in my own world, out in the real world. You know, like I have to turn on the juice and turn off the juice.
Right.
And that remember was so funny because they were trying to get Rob. Come on, like Jen. It was the next year. Jen and her husband showed up, and they were like the second nicest. They're nice, but these people were nicer. But I remember Jen and her husband were trying. I had just driven 9 hours all night, no sleep, to get over to there, you know. And I worked all day at con, and they were just trying to be sweet, but they were just like, "Come on, Rob," and I was like, "Oh man, I want to kill everyone in this car," you know, like please, dear God, leave me alone. I'm just trying to survive to the hotel, you know. But no, Jen and her husband, they're great.
Yeah, I've never met Jen and her husband before. I always hear good things.
Oh yeah, super nice. Yeah. Last time I saw Jen in person was when Tom did the Lights Camera Jungle book. I did a cover for that, and then I showed up down at Jesse's place. I think it was Jesse James' place. She was there because she did all the interiors and stuff.
Yeah, didn't he do like a reboot of? I think he did like a reboot of that, like some not that long ago, like a couple years ago.
I'm gonna be honest. I unfollowed Tom a long time ago, so I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No,
we had a parting of ways. So. But yeah.
Every now and again he'll come to Phoenix. Every now and again, and we'll go like have dinner or something. But I'll probably see him like once. And he's here. I think he stays here for like a month sometimes. But
there was a time we really got along. It was super nice because he lived out in LA, so I was living in San Diego. So he'd drive to San Diego. He's like, "Man, I need someone to keep me company. You know, while I drive to Phoenix, you want to just go?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I would just accompany him on the drive, you know. And that was before he did Oz. Like he was pitching the Oz book to me and everything. I initially did design for that. And I was like, I was all down for drawing it, but like I needed an inker, and Tom was like, "I don't pay for inkers." And then when he paid for an inker, that was the first time I was like, oh, you don't pay for inkers. Oh, you won't pay for Rob to have an inker. Ah, I see. You know, so.
Why weren't you inking your own stuff back then?
Huh? I was just doing rough because inking a whole book. My inks are not. I draw with pens, you know, or pencil. I don't ink like in a traditional sense. I'm not a renderer, like, and digitally.
Like your stuff looks so good inked though. Like the way you, like the pictures and stuff that you show me, like your stuff looks so good inked. There's like tons of line weights and like lots of movement. That's all.
That is not what they were looking for with that book. Like had tons of line weights and lots of movement. Was I don't want to throw the dude under a bus, but it's just like it was like yeah, my audience don't go for your stuff, you know, kind of thing. I was like, gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, so that was that. But I mean, even now, like I think coloring my traditional lines requires pretty. I don't know, like because they're really scritchy. Scritchy is the word I'd say.
Yeah.
It would take someone who paints more than colors, I think, to get that right. Yeah. And I do so many effects and stuff. Like now, like I said, digitally I can just keep everything layered. So like when I show you, remember I showed you that one where you were like, how do you keep track of all that? That one?
Yeah.
I was
that
like,
was
well,
crazy.
yeah. So that's digital. That's not traditional.
Yeah.
And so like,
well, yeah, I know you do all your stuff
right.
digital.
But I couldn't do that digitally at the time. It would have been impossible.
Oh, okay.
But that's all layered. Now, if I were to, and I will print that out and ink it traditionally, but that version I don't think would be colored as well. It would take someone, I don't know, you know, you have to have really clean pencils, I think, or if you have dirty inks, you have to have someone who knows how to deal with that. And I have found very few colorists know how to deal with my art. Even my colorist, Robert Nugent, he's super good. But with my stuff, I'm always having to give him notes, you know, and I don't think he needs notes on anyone else's stuff. I have a really weird way, you know, whatever you call it.
I think you just have like a particular style that I think you're going for as far as like palette and feeling, because like even like when you'll show me stuff from like your colorist and then like the things that you color, it's very Rob. Like even though somebody else colored it, it's still very Rob. It's very much like how Campbell will give like Ula Moss and like Sabine Rich and stuff like notes between like how they do stuff, and like even like his wife like Tanya, like he'll give, well, this is what I hear, so I'm assuming, and I've heard it from a few people, so I'm assuming it's true, that yeah, like he'll like go back and forth on notes and stuff, so all of his stuff looks cohesive and like it looks like Campbell, like even though different people are coloring it, it looks like Campbell. So that's like how I feel about your work, because like
that's J. Scott Campbell. I'm nobody
else, like you make it feel like you.
Right, but I'm nobody. So the difference is people are like, why am I putting all this? No, but like, understand what I'm saying. In the world of comics, I'm nobody. I understand this. So when you hand someone who's at like an entry level, right? What I'm doing, it usually burns them out quickly. You know what I mean? They're like, I didn't sign up for this. You know, like, I just want to color a regular comic. I'm not, you know, with notes and all this stuff. So yeah, that's sort of the thing. And it's like I'm at this, like, I've always been in this weird spot where I'm like not quite professional.
But you're so good at like passing along information though.
Some people do not want to hear that information. Robert does. But you have, he's super good.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I have worked with colors.
It seems like he listens really well.
Yeah. No, but I've worked with colors who are like, stop telling me what to do. I'm like, no. Here's how it works. When the colors work, they go, who colored that? When they don't work, they go, who drew it? So they gotta work.
Yes, that is so true.
And I made that statement in 2008, Marissa. So this is not like I just recently came up with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, like Mike says the same thing. Like he goes, if it's a good drawing and it gets colored well, they'll, what do they say? Like, oh yeah, that's exactly what you said. Who colored it? But if it's not colored well and it's a good drawing, Like I feel like there definitely needs to be like a skill matched with skill.
Right.
Like if somebody, like I'm decent at anatomy, I can do it. I can do it well enough. But I also need a colorist that knows anatomy as well. You know, like I need somebody that can match and has like a basic understanding of lighting and everything. So I'm pretty particular about my colorist. Like I could do it myself, but it would just take me like 10 million years to Copic and ink and like all of my stuff, because I suck at digital coloring so bad, but I haven't took the time to like sit and like teach myself anything.
Well, it's tough enough to get your head around the programs, let alone to have a process, you know?
Right,
and, like,
right.
Developing a process. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm fortunate in that I did spend 10 years doing t-shirts, primarily hand-drawn and Photoshop, no vector. So like I really learned how to use Photoshop in ways that most people don't know how to use it, you know?
Right.
And how to maintain, because in t-shirts, you can always tell the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and someone who's like thinks they know what they're doing. People tend to like wear things that feel soft. So when you put really hard-edged vector stuff on the shirts, it just looks too blocky. You have to learn to give things a soft feel or an imperfect feel. But it still needs to be so things work on shirts that don't work on prints and vice versa. So when people just put their art on a shirt, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's art, but it doesn't always work, you know? You're like, what was the thing? What was... So that's where I come from there. But I think with the colorist, I'm always looking, for the most part, I'm looking for people that can capture an emotion. I like emotional rendering. I'm less concerned with rendering out muscles and definition. Like I've already put a solid shape into my art. As long as you got the shape down, you're good. But if it has no emotion, if it's just like a bunch of flat brown, or if it's these weird colors juxtaposed up to one another, you can't color just local color with me. You got to color emotional color. Because I plan each sequence out for like, when I lay out a sequence, I plan the time of day, right? And like I already have it color scripted as I'm drawing the book, how like it should flow from time of days to weather conditions, or then to just emotional beats. And
right.
And getting that, I found really quickly, like Todd doesn't apparently like oddly colored skies that aren't realistic. You know, he's like, oh, he doesn't like. I'm like, no, I think it needs more Invader Zim. So my way around that has been to create like splatters, and then I trap the splatters separately so I can make the splatters the weird color against a normal colored sky. So you can trick these sorts of, or you can add a light source, like a light's creating it, and then be like that light source dominating this thing, and that's creating this color scheme. And so, but I just think that their work, for the most part, especially on interiors, their work is bulk, you know. So anything you're doing to cut down on their time to get stuff done is, you know, detrimental to their paycheck, right? So like what I do is I make a complete video well in advance. When I'm done with the pages, I put together color script videos per sequence and page, and go over each thing. And if there needs to be reference, I have that reference for them already set up, and it's attached to the video. It's in a separate file, so that they can, sometimes I'll color sketch stuff out and just be like, so they don't have to think about it. It's not trying to tell them what to do. It's so that they don't have to wonder what to do. They can move forward, you know?
Right.
But some colorists don't respect that. They think you're telling them what to do and taking away their creativity. And I'm like, this ain't it. You know, you're going to find creativity like in the rendering or something else, you know?
Right. Yeah, you're definitely the director. As like the penciler, the inker, the guy that does all this stuff, like you're definitely the director. And then it's like the cameraman's job to come in and make sure that everything is like set up properly, you know?
Well, luckily, I mean, if you know how to do what they're doing, like I try to explain now, I'm able to say, hey, you know, I've been coloring my work for 20 years, you know, like, so I know how to color me probably better than anyone. So this is going to be a problem. Yeah. This is a little tricky. So I've set this up to make it easier on you. If I just printed out all these things in my rough lines and drew it on the board, which I can do, they would never know what to do with it. Being able to separate everything has been my way of making their lives I mean, beyond easy, you know, like beyond easier for what I'm
Right.
trying to do. So I couldn't imagine. Well, I could, because I've handed pages like you've seen before. And I remember once, you know who Megan Hetrick is?
No, I don't think so.
So she does a lot of like really good cover arts and stuff for Marvel and a lot of oil paintings and stuff like that. Super dope artist. But
Okay.
we used to all work for a company called, we started out this company called Ape Entertainment, and they had like a private message board, you know, like where you post all the art, you know. And I did this giant battle scene with all these monstroids, these characters fighting a giant robot. I mean, we're getting paid $50 a page, right? I just was like,
Right.
bam! And she was just like,
Pennies.
yeah, she just replied, feel sorry for the colors. You know? Because they were probably getting 25 a page, you know?
Right,
I was
right.
like, well, you ain't gonna get noticed doing the bullshit. Like, but yeah, I always think
Yeah,
about that.
I've had to apologize to my colorist a couple times. Like I had to do last year. I did a Hell Witch, and Brian wanted her in this like Kendall Jenner rhinestoney sparkly dress, and I was like, son of a bitch! Like this is gonna be really time consuming, and I feel really sorry for Headwind because I can't shortcut this pattern that he wants on this dress. There's just no shortcuts.
Right.
So I messaged Hedman and I was like, bro, I'm really sorry, you're gonna have to do this. And he's like, it's okay. And then he sent like I think he sent like an eye with like a blood drop emoji, and I was like, I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah. The big convention piece.
Flat it, you know.
Well, the big convention piece they showed off, the SpawnCon piece, because there was this delay between, I had drawn all the pages Todd had sent me script for, and they were looking for a writer to take over because Todd was going to write it, but he just, you know, he's a busy guy, he didn't have time. So I took that time I colored that actually myself in high res. There's a version, it's not that. Todd wanted a different color scheme. I went more Invader Zim with the color scheme, but I did all the flats. And I did all color traps, and I got all the stuff. So when I'm like, well, whoever they find in ours, I don't want to hear this is too hard because I've already done this. Like I did the hardest page in this issue,
Right.
you know, 2 pages. So when it came time, I handed him that stuff. I'm like, here, the flat's already done. You know what I mean? Everything's layered. You can just work on the color scheme. Blah 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 blah. You know. And they did a good job. I still disagree with Todd. I think mine was better, but whatever. You know, like everyone does, right? But it came out great. I have no complaints.
When is his SpawnCon thing?
Oh, see, that's the thing. I didn't know there was a SpawnCon when I did that. So, like,
okay.
Todd had written in the script that it's a convention, right? That Chibi's at, and it was like, we call him Chibi Spawn, for the lack of a better description. And he's supposed to be having like a miserable time, and I was like, well, I know that feeling because that's me at every con. And and I was like, well, they already did a Comic-Con bit in the first Spawn Kills Everyone series. Like it was the whole issue took place at Comic-Con. I was like, I don't want to draw that. So I was like, what if he's supposed to be the worst Spawn? I need to show every other Spawn, right? In my head, that's what I was thinking. I gotta show how he's the dumbest Spawn out of all of these. So I was like, Spawn, it's a SpawnCon. Like it just made sense. Like the flows off the tongue, right? So I'm like, oh great, I'll draw a SpawnCon. Right. And then I just made the logo with the Spawn logo, and then I took the words con and drew them in the same. Turns out there's a damn SpawnCon that has the same logo. I didn't even know until a year later, like or so. Like when they were like, when they did a SpawnCon, these guys were like, oh my god, and they hit me up. I'm like, this is real, you know? And they were like, yeah, you didn't know. I'm like, no. So.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun bit, you know. It was an excuse to put Savage Dragon Spawn in there, and you know, a bunch of other goofy spawns. Because I know some people were saying, "Oh, it looks like you're drawing Invader Zim." So if you look in the background, I put Invader Spawn in the background. I'm like, no, there is an Invader Spawn. He's just not. He's over there. So when someone makes that I did a Jay and Silent Spawn in the background. Like I just put up logos everywhere and drew their faces. But, yeah.
Wait, is this already out?
They showed it at the New York Con. They put it in a preview.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they put it in a preview. So I posted that the pages to. At the time, I reposted the art. So yeah, they have shown that, and they printed it. And with that preview book, they streamed it too because they were streaming. You know, so I got to see the audience reaction. There was like a legitimate laugh. I was worried. I'm like, I don't know if these cats want a humorous Spawn book, you know, but they got a good, like, real chuckle in the art. So that was
good.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm skeptical. You know? And I'm skeptical of anything I do. So.
Yeah, I'm like, are you naturally skeptical,
yes.
or are you just like, skeptical of this
no,
thing?
both. I've done enough projects, you know, to know. You know, the ones you want to work out rarely ever do, and the ones you were like, oh, who cares, are the ones, and then you're stuck doing that for a while.
Yeah.
So I want this to work out, but at the same time, I don't control the outcome. You know, no one ever does.
Right.
Like, you know, we do this Star Wars podcast usually every day, but right now the news is slow, so we did one today. But starting out, it's once a week until the news picks up. But it's like I keep trying to tell these are like normies, right, in the audience, you know, and I'm like,
yeah,
like you guys can sit there and say what you think would make $1 billion or what would be successful, but the fact is nobody really knows. You have to have a take on something and then basically bet on yourself, you know, that's the way to move. If these companies have so much money, if there was a surefire way to win, they'd be doing it every time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they wouldn't be like, oh, I guess this time we'll lose. You know, we love doing losing ideas. So sometimes, right? It doesn't happen. So sometimes you got a great idea and it doesn't take off. I'll give an example. One of the most famous examples, The Iron Giant. I saw it in the theaters. It was a brilliant film.
I love that movie. Yeah.
No money. That's the only one in the theaters.
It did not.
Yeah. And I only went to see it.
I love that movie.
I went to see it for two things. I was drawing my own comic based on, like, you know, like everyone else does. They do a comic based on their youth on some level. So I created some characters that resembled me and my friends, you know. And Hogarth just happens to look like me when I was a kid, right?
Okay.
Like even my Aunt Rose, I was like, it's you, and I'm like, okay, it's every dumb white kid, but I hear you. But I saw the name Brad Bird, and I knew Brad Bird from The Simpsons, because Brad Bird used to be the head story guy on The Simpsons for the first 3 or 4 seasons when they used to tell stories, you know, back in the day. So I was super excited. I'm like, oh man, this is Brad Bird, but believe me, Marissa, no one was in the theater for that, you know.
That's so sad. I really like that movie. I've always liked that movie. I love the animation in that movie so much.
Yeah, it's so good. Very three-dimensional, almost like it doesn't surprise me that Brad Bird came on to Incredibles, and that's when they figured out humans. Because if you look at the way the humans are designed in Iron Giant, it's very pre-Pixar. Like you can look at them. Okay.
Yeah.
They're very three-dimensional. They're stylized, but they're very solid. And if you look at, like, they did. You know who Milt Call is?
No, I don't think so.
Milt Call is one of the you know his work. I'll tell you who he is in a second. He's one of the original 9 Old Men from Disney. If you ever seen Sword in the Stone, you know, he did like all the wizard animation. He does. Everyone says Milt Call draws the best hands. You ever see those Disney hands are like perfectly three-dimensional and they move like the wizard's hands? That's Milt Call. He even made style guide sheets. If you look up Disney hand model sheet, you'll see Milt Call style guides for that. And that film had Milt Call hands. I mean, it was a total tribute to the old Disney guys too, because they put Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson in the movie. There's 2 old guys at the end. They go, oh, Frank, oh, Thomas. Those are the last 2 alive at the time, the last 2 living 9 Old Men from the Disney times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's not a Disney movie.
Yeah, who made that movie? And then
Warner Brothers.
When did it come out?
It came out 99, 2000, around there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely didn't see it until later, like probably like a few years later after it came out. So no, I didn't have it. I didn't have it as a kid. Like
There was
I don't think I did.
There was a documentary that had come out on video at the time, and I think it might be on Disney Plus, called Frank and Ollie, and it follows Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston around. And Frank Thomas, I still has a train in his. I think Frank Thomas was the one who had first built a miniature train set in his backyard and show Walt Disney, which sort of inspired Walt to build his own Disneyland. That's why there's a train at Disneyland, because Walt became fascinated with miniature trains, and he built one all across his house and compound. He'd bring everyone over, but then it wasn't enough, and he built Disneyland. Basically how it went. But yeah, they're in the movie. And those old guys, man, I mean, like, they basically, like, 4 or 5 dudes basically animated Jungle Book. Like, the whole movie. It was done with, like, no money.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they had assistants, but I'm saying, like, all the keyframes were, like, 4 dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. That's why sometimes when people go, oh, look, they reuse this animation, I'm like, I don't think you understand. They had no choice. You know, and the fact that they
time
and resources. And they made it, you didn't know when you were watching the movie, did you? Like, you gotta wait till 30 years later or 50 years later and look on YouTube and frame by, oh, that's what, you know. Like, so I always respect that kind of, like, ingenuity, you know?
Well, yeah, if you can repurpose something, then, like, why not if it works, you know? I mean...
If you could run old videos behind you of you drawing while you're drawing something they can't show, right?
Yeah.
Right? Fakes. As Shelby Robertson would call these are my fake streams.
Your fake streams.
Mm-hmm. He's so funny. I was like, oh,
I only met him like once or twice.
He's good. He's good people.
I think it was just in Tucson.
I love to razz him a little bit because I discovered his art when he was drawing he drew the Crypt miniseries back in the day when he was like 16, 17. I was still like in high school, or I think it was my senior year, and I actually own like one of these pages. You know? Oh no, I don't own the Crypt. I own a Bad Rock page he did where Bad Rock fights basically an AT from Star Wars unofficially. You know, like they just wrote that into the story. And I'm like, I got your art. And he was like, stop showing me my old art. I'm like, no, this is great. You know, I love it. You know, and I do love it. Like, it's just,
right.
He hates it.
No, I think everybody hates our old art. Like, I hate it whenever people show me my old stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, you fucking like this? Are you serious? Like, this is trash. Like, you should probably throw that away. You should probably not look at this with your eyes anymore. I almost forgot to draw her fingers. That wasn't bad.
Good time. Good time.
When did you stop doing conventions?
2017.
Yeah.
I just stopped making. I went to. It wasn't just that I didn't make money at that con. It was the Vegas con. I didn't make money. I broke even taking commissions, but then I was like, I could have just stayed home. But then on my drive back, I forgot I put my prints in the trunk, so they melted because it's Nevada.
Oh my God.
So my entire inventory melted too. So I was like, well, I'm done, folks. You know, that's a good sign. So, you know, one day someone wants to fly me out, or, you know what I mean, have me just go up to do signings and stuff. You know, if I ever get to be that kind of guy, I doubt it, but then yeah, but in terms of going to cons and commissions and prints, no, I'm never doing that again. I much prefer doing a Kickstarter and packing and shipping things and doing that.
Yeah, I like the FaceTime that I get with people. Sometimes like the traveling, like I don't really sleep that great. Like especially like, I mean, we're only gone for like 3 days, and maybe sometimes you only spend like 2 days sleeping at some place. Like I hate sleeping in new places because I don't fucking sleep. And then if I don't sleep, like I'm just a nightmare. And Mike knows that I need sleep. Otherwise, it's just not gonna be good. So I've been taking like when I go to like shows and stuff, like I just like bring NyQuil with me, and then I just take NyQuil every night before bed, like a cap or cap and a half or something. But I don't mind doing them. I don't want to do them. I definitely don't want to. Like for like last year, I did like one a month, and I was like, I can't do that. So
yeah, I like
it's just
meeting
not
people,
good.
but
It's just not good
I've
for
just
me.
found as the years go on, no one knows who I am, and they're not really there to see me anyway. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's like the
They're
amount of
very, they're very celebrity driven now, I think.
yeah.
You will get the people there, like I will get the people there that like do want to like see me and stuff. Like I'm going to like C2E2 at the end of the month, and I've gotten like tons of requests for like to like go out to Chicago. It's just never been a good time. So we'll see how it goes. I've never been to Chicago before. I always lived like 4 years. I lived like 3 hours away. I never went. So making up for lost time, I guess.
You gonna go during St. Patty's Day when they dyed that whole thing green and stuff?
To Chicago?
Yeah.
No, it's at the end of this month.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
You should bring a bottle of food coloring and go, can I dye it? And they'll be like, funny kid, funny. No, that's awesome. I think is it windy right now at the end of the month? Is it windy yet? Is there like a windy season? Or is it always just windy?
I feel like it's like always windy. I know in St. Louis, and it could just be like in my head. I feel like it's like really windy, like into January, like through February. But I might just be like making that up. It might just be like all in my head. I'm not sure. But I feel like it's like really windy there around that time. So it might be the same for Chicago too. But I'm not a cold person. I don't like the cold. Hence why I live in Phoenix. I hate the cold.
Yeah, I like the cold. I'm from a desert town, so I just can't stand it. And I like flannels. You know? Can't wear flannels in the desert.
Not in the summer you can't. But like you lived in like the desert in like San Diego? You lived
Outside
inland?
of San Diego, like Lakeside, you know, I grew up in Lakeside.
Okay.
So, you know, how you get 104, 114, somewhere between there, and
Yeah.
every summer, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And I've been in San Diego in a long time.
we go, San Diego, so sunny and cool. I'm like, not where I lived. You know, you're thinking the beach, you know, like, you
Yeah.
gotta be wealthy to live. And they go, well, you go to the beach. Not when you live that inland, it's an hour-and-a-half drive sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't really work out the way you'd think it would.
Yeah, that's why I always said like if I was gonna live in California, I would definitely have to like live on the beach because like living inland, yeah, it's cheaper, but like you're not gonna go do that. Like I live like an hour and a half, 2 hours from like Sedona, and Sedona's so beautiful and it's so pretty, and I don't go. I haven't been up there in years, so it'd probably be like the same thing with like the beach. You know, like you go there with the intentions of like going to the beach, you never fucking do.
Yeah, it's just why pay for the price of living in California if you don't actually do any of the things that, you know, if you're just sitting in your room all the time and you're like, oh, when I go out, I'll go to a spa. Like, I can do that anywhere. They got these cool like mountain spas, like natural springs out here, you know. It's like, we like to do that, you know.
You live in Idaho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I live right outside of Boise, like
Okay.
10 minutes away. But it's very much like, I mean, if you've ever been to Poway, the climate's similar to that, but it has snow and mountains like that. So I get the parts of California I kind of grew up in, but without the extreme heat and winters. And I'm like, oh, I like it. You know, now I'm surrounded by a bunch of psycho Republicans, but I was where I lived in San Diego too. So
Yeah.
Lakeside, so bad. When we moved there in '82, my father, I call him my father. He ended up adopting me, but he's not my biological father. So he's Hispanic, and so he's a person of color. And when we were driving in, they had this giant rock that would sit facing the highway. It was this giant boulder, and it was like "N-words go home," like spray painted on it,
No.
And I was, as a kid, that's the first time I ever saw that word, I was like, "Who's go home?" I was like, I don't know, like but he that climate reminded him of where he grew up, so he tolerated all that nonsense. But
Yeah.
we did go home. Apparently, we lived in that town, so we went home too.
Well, we did go home.
Yeah,
So
to our house.
thanks.
Yeah, we're here.
So thank you for reminding me.
They had the worst Chinese buffet I've ever had in my entire life, and that's saying something because I've been to the Basil Cafe at the Westgate Hotel in Vegas. So bad. The Chinese food was down, but my dad loved it. Especially when you know how many Asian restaurants, even in 1982, there were to eat in San Diego. We could have gone to so many great. There's a giant Vietnamese community that kind of moved in, and Korean during the Korean War, the Vietnamese War, and we had the worst. So bad, so
That's
bad.
so sad.
Yeah, I
That's
had
so
soggy
sad.
egg rolls my whole life until I hit.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't even like it. I don't like egg rolls, but I couldn't imagine a soggy egg roll. That just sounds like torture. Like
it's just
mush.
cabbage.
Like
Just too much
mush.
cabbage. Yeah, and the dessert was green Jello. So you know what I mean. Like,
Ugh.
I know you wouldn't think I grew up in modern times. You would think
You're basically eating like a peasant.
yeah. There's that scene in
the
was it
olden
Winter
days.
Soldier or something where they ask Captain America. She's like, "What was it like back then?" He's like, "It was all right. The food here is better. Everyone
Right,
boiled
right.
everything." And I was like, "I know that they were doing that when
Yeah.
I lived in this town."
Yeah.
Boiled chicken
No,
wings.
so
You don't want them.
Do you like ribs? Are you a rib person?
A couple times a year I have ribs. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a rib person. Mainly because the only way I've ever had ribs was boiled and then covered in
no.
sauce.
No.
So both my grandparents and my mom would, whenever they would make ribs, they wouldn't smoke them. So I just thought that's how ribs were made, and I was like, these are fucking disgusting. I hate them. And so a couple Christmases ago, I went to my dad's house for Christmas. And I asked him, oh, what do we have for Christmas dinner? What are you making? Because my dad's a pretty good cook. He really likes to cook and play around in the kitchen. I was like, what are you making for Christmas dinner? And he was like, oh, I was gonna smoke ribs. And I was like, ew, ribs? And he's like, what do you mean, ew, ribs? And I was like, Dad, ribs are so nasty. And he's like, okay, how have you had them prepared? I was like, I don't know, boiled. And he was like, oh God, he looked.
I could just see what that meat
I
looked
just
like. Rubber,
insulted.
looked like
Ugh.
brown rubber.
It was gray.
Gray
It
rubber.
was,
Sorry, yeah, gray rubber.
Yeah. And he looked like I just offended him. I just told him, God, I don't know. And he was like,
These
okay,
are
you have
pork
to eat
ribs
my
as well, right? I'm assuming.
I don't
Small
know
or
if they were
big?
pure, but he smoked
Tiny
them.
or big?
They're big.
Then those are beef ribs, yeah. So
Okay.
you really don't want to boil pork. You ever see a movie called Better Off Dead?
No, I've heard of it though, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's with John Cusack. It's a funny 80s movie. If you like 80s humor, it's one of the best. It's right out there. So
Okay.
but he's got this mom who's always she's the worst cook. He'll sit down at dinner. There's all this side humor where his dad's trying to give him the pep speech about being a man kind of thing every time he goes to sit down. And his mom just sits down and she drops the worst science experiments onto his plate. And he looks down on it and his dad goes, "What is this?" She goes, "It's bacon." And it's green. He's like,
Ew.
you like bacon, but you just told me you wanted it healthier, so I boiled it.
Ew.
You're like, yeah, that's what it would do it. That's
Ugh.
yeah.
God.
And the look on the dad's
my-
face,
So in the Midwest, there's all kinds of crazy concoctions, the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s were just a wild time for food in general, I think. And my friend Andrea, she's like from a small town in Illinois, like more up north, probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours from Chicago. And she was telling me about like this thing like her mom used to make. Ham balls. She would make ham balls. And she showed me pictures of it, and it just looked so vile. Like, it looked awful. Like, Andrea has like an aversion to like every type of food ever because like her mom just like fucking boiled everything. I don't know if she boiled these ham balls, but it wouldn't put it past her. And she's like, I hate every kind of vegetable unless it's baked, because my mom boiled everything. My mom did too. My mom boiled corn. She boiled carrots. She boiled green beans. And I'm just like, I can't eat anything out of a can. I can't eat it anymore. You can't. It's got to be like grilled or baked, air fried even. But it cannot be boiled. Super cannot be boiled.
Yeah, especially those folks that grew up in the 70s, or you know, like a lot of the worst cooking comes from the 60s and 70s. Sad to say.
Yeah, that was a wild time. The gelatin, everything. Ugh.
Yeah. My mom picked it up from her mom. And I had to stop the vicious cycle. You know.
Yeah.
When I was in the 4th grade, I begged my teacher to start a cooking class so I could learn how to cook, because the food I was eating at home was. I knew this is not normal. It's not good. My dad's idea of cooking was flat tortilla with flour tortilla with peanut butter, American cheese, hot dog, and mayo. Like, that's my
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You poor child.
Yeah. I was like, I can't do this. I gotta learn. I gotta learn.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, mayonnaise and
peanut butter. Yeah.
Peanut butter.
Yeah. My wife didn't believe me. She thought I was making this stuff up. You know, she actually when I made it, I thought you were a compulsive liar, and I'm like, all right. No. So we would go to dinner with my dad. I'd tell these stories, and he'd go, "Oh yeah, no. First you put a layer of cheese." Like, he'd explain it to her, like as if I was somehow screwing up. You know, the order was the problem.
Right. The order was the lie. You were lying about the order because the order makes a difference in taste. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
If you put the mayo down before the cheese, it's gonna fucking taste gross. Like, don't even. Don't even think about it.
I wonder why he turned into a type 2 diabetic. But
it's almost like he was like pregnant. He was just like putting all these cravings. Like, I want mayo. And cheese sounds really good too, but I need like something sweet for peanut butter.
He did take prenatal pills for vitamins. You know.
That's crazy.
He said they were good for.
That's where his cravings would come from.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, man. Like, I'd like to just have a burger here, or you know, like a hot dog, something simple, man. You know, maybe a salad.
Plain hot dog, no peanut butter. Hold the peanut butter.
I didn't even know people put nuts in salad until I graduated high school. I went to a friend's house because I wasn't allowed to go anywhere, and so I left home the day after I graduated high school because I was like, I gotta get out.
Okay.
And my buddy, I went to his house, and his mom, he was still in high school, so his mom, it was like a sleepover kind of, right? I was like, oh, this is fun. I was like a sleepover, but I'm an adult now, haha. And she made salad. She had pine nuts in there. I was like, why are there nuts in here? He's like, because it's a salad. You put nuts in salad? She's like, yes, there's a nut. Here's how you make a salad. She taught me, you know, fruit, cheese, nut, you know, green, you know, like, but I didn't know nuts went in the salad. So I was like, you know, my dad's idea of a salad was coleslaw. So.
Yeah, I don't like coleslaw. I've tried it, mate. I don't like coleslaw, and I don't like buffalo sauce. I've tried eating things with buffalo sauce like so many times because it looks really good, you know, and I think it's the color. I really do think it's the color. I think the bright orange, and like, I think it just like, it looks appetizing to me, and I try to eat it, and I can't do it.
Too vinegary? Too acidic?
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, I've tried it on multiple, like, there's a recipe lady that I follow. Her handle is like Half Baked Harvest, and she's been around for a while. But she makes these, these tortilla, these like corn tortilla chicken buffalo taquitos, and they are really good. And with the ranch that she has you make with them, it's really good too. But she has a couple other things on there. There's buffalo that I've tried, and I can't I can't get behind it. It's way too something. It looks good, but it's just not. It's just not it for me.
I got a buddy, he's Welsh, you know, and he lives in the UK, and he can't stand barbecue sauce. I'm like, even good barbecue sauce or like crappy American? Where are you getting your barbecue sauce from? You know, but he did the very taste of it. I'm like, it must be like Japanese when they try root beer. You ever seen those videos?
No, I don't like root beer either though.
Yeah. Oh, I love a good sarsaparilla. But yeah, they hate it. Like, the look on their face is just like, oh, it's just revolting.
Yeah, like, no, I can't do root beer either. I like cream sodas and vanilla sodas and stuff, but I just like super can't do root beer. That's like one of those things too. Like root beer floats look really good, but it's like, just put the ice cream as like some Coke or something. Like, don't even put it in a root beer. You're gonna ruin the ice cream.
I suppose you have to really like bitter foods, you know, or bitey foods.
Yeah, I'm much more of a sweets person. Like, I don't like. Do you drink black coffee?
Oh, all the time. Got it right here.
Oh my god.
Decaf, black. Yeah.
Ew. I can't so my granny used to always, I mean she still does, but she used to make black coffee whenever I was little, and it always smelled so good. Like, I love the smell of coffee. Like, it's so great. So I would always try it. And she was like, first she would tell me no, because she's like, no, it'll stunt your growth. You can't have coffee. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still the largest child out of all of my cousins. I think I'm okay. I could afford to be
6 feet in the 6th grade. You know what I mean? I was drinking coffee.
You poor thing.
I was drinking coffee since the 2nd, so it does not stunt your growth. I know. Those are those old wives' tales you hear, right?
Yeah.
Remember they said, if you sit too close to the TV, you'll go blind, and now we have VR. You know, and I'm like, no, that's not it. You know?
Right, yeah. No, I used to think I used to like to watch when I was a kid. I used to like to watch the food in the microwave go around. So I put my face into the microwave, and then my aunt was living with us for a little bit, and she saw me doing that. She goes, if you do it too long, you'll go blind. And I'm just a kid. I'm like 6, 7 years old probably, and I'm like, oh my god, I should probably stop doing that. And then in the 4th grade, so a couple years later, I'm not. And I have to get glasses. I can't, because I'm my vision is just going. And I'm like, oh my god, Aunt Tiffany was right. I'm gonna go blind. I was just watching my food cook in the microwave.
Well, the older microwaves from the 60s weren't shielded right, so you could get cancer. Not if your face was in it, but they used to sit lower. Like my grandma's house, they sat on that. They had lower shelves, not a desk, but you know what I mean, like a lower countertop, and so it was at abdomen level, and she ended up getting cancer from that and passing away when she was 55. Yeah, so they weren't shielded as they are now. I mean, now it's not really an issue, but
yeah, that was in I don't know, 2000.
No, you were
2001.
Yeah. The old
have eye cancer.
Yeah. I know, it's hilarious.
No, she used to tell me all kinds of
meanwhile,
lies.
For 11 years, kids were sitting there with Game Boys right in front of their face, right?
Oh yeah.
No problem.
No, she I don't know if you're familiar with this soda called Sundrop.
No.
It's just for the longest time they said it was only made, and I don't know how true this is, because I found it one time in Missouri, so I don't know if it's just a distribution, a new distribution thing or what. But they said that they only made it in Tennessee, the only people in Tennessee had it. But again, like I said, I don't know how true that is. But she would never let me or my cousins drink Sundrop, but every now and again, it was just a sip. It's kind of like Squirt or something. And she would never let us have it, because she said, she swore up and down that it would give us kidney stones. And I'm like, okay. So I told my dad, because my Aunt Carla used to always get kidney stones, and that's all she drank was Sundrop. And as a kid, you don't know that you should probably drink water.
Yeah, you need water.
You know?
A lack of water was doing it, yes.
Yeah. So Carlina always had kidney stones, and she was like, no, you can't have Sundrop, kidney stones, whatever. And years later, I told this to my dad, and he's like, I was like, yeah, Granny used to never let us drink this. And he's like, no, Carlina got kidney stones because she never fucking drank water. That's why. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, anyway, Granny deprived me of my childhood because she would only have Sundrop. But she would let me drink Sprite, though. Like I would drink like loads of Sprite like all weekend long, but I couldn't have sun drops. Like, and it's same thing.
Third generation
you know,
believed there was medicinal properties in Sprite. My dad, who was a paramedic in Vietnam and in the real world, he was an EMT when he got out of the military, still believe you drink Sprite when you're sick and shit. And I'm like, I get the carbonations where it comes from. Like, drinking carbonated water can help when you have an upset stomach, things like this.
Right.
But there's no medicinal properties in Sprite, I assure you. I had to get my colonoscopy because, you know, you hit 45, you got to do it if you want to avoid cancer. And so, like, they were like, you got to take this stuff and drink some Sprite. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't drink sugar soda. I make my own soda, sugar-free sodas, you know? I'm not a big sugar fan. And I'm like, all right. And I haven't had a Sprite literally in 20 years, and I was just like, here we go. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's like so fucking... Rich isn't the word. Like, it's just, I'm like, I go cotton mouth in 2 seconds, you know?
Right.
I can't believe my dad thought there was medicinal properties. Later, Jordanium. Peace.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't. I mean, this is true. Like, this is true. But she wouldn't let me eat like a bunch of sugar daddies. Like sugar daddies were like my favorite. Whenever I was little, Butterfingers and sugar daddies. And she's like, no, like you can't eat that all the time because it's gonna pull your fillings out and you're gonna get more cavity. I'm like, yeah, this may be true, but I'm not eating this like an animal. I'm not just chomping on it like there's no tomorrow. It's hard caramel, pretty much.
Yeah, it will pull your fillings out.
Okay, thanks, Grammy.
It will. I know. I had some work where I was eating a gummy last year, and it pulled out some shoddy work I had 12 years ago. I did some emergency surgery in January for my new dentist to fix. But yeah, it will. I was like, well, yeah, I think I'm done with gummies now, you know? So I switched from gummies to red seedless grapes, and surprisingly I get the same whatever I was looking for, that sour bite. The red seedless grapes seem to get me there. So
that's
I'm
good.
Like, I'm like, hey, that's great. I just can't sneak them into the theater. Other than that, you know, we're good.
Yeah, I don't eat a ton of gummies. I feel like they swell up in my stomach too much, and I feel kind of gross after I eat them. But I eat them, but I only eat like a few at a time, and not a few at a time, and like not all the time, like every now and again. But I love the sour worms.
Yeah, I did too, but no more. No more. How it works.
Oh, man.
I mean, maybe.
Do you cook a lot at home?
I do all the cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I don't really know if I have a favorite thing to cook. I don't really do well with favorites in general.
Okay.
So I think it's like whatever I'm really in the mood for would be my favorite. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I could tell you probably my least favorite thing is Thanksgiving, because I do everything and from scratch, and I have a spreadsheet with times, you know, so I'm on my feet. You know, and I just make for me and the wife, but I make enough for like 3 days. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she likes the traditional Thanksgiving, so I got, you know, I do a turkey breast, but I do a soy honey glazed turkey breast. You know, I do I do this custom stuffing, sourdough, and Italian sausage and all the cranberries, all that stuff in there. And do the yams and the taters and all that. And she likes the green bean casserole because she's from Indiana and they're weird. And so I make that stupid thing, you know.
I've never had a green bean casserole that I like. Like, I know people love it, but I'm just like, I can't eat that. It's not good.
Yeah, I make it for her, but I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I'm good with everything else, but you know, fine. That I like the after, but that's the thing I have to, you know, and I don't want to ever screw it up because you know, it's her favorite meal. So, but I think. I don't really have a favorite anything. You know, I mean, I enjoy spaghetti, but I wouldn't say I make some brilliant thing, you know? I know how to do it the hard way, and I know how to do it the easy way. And the easy way tastes just as good as the hard way, but the easy way would offend almost every Italian I've ever met. you know. But
Yeah.
they can kiss my ass. It tastes about exactly the same, you know.
Yeah, I have a friend in Belgium that he's been to Italy a couple times, and he's had the pizza over there, and he's had pizza over here, and he said that he likes the pizza over here better than like the Italian pizza. He's like, it just tastes better. He's like, I don't know what you guys do. I'm like, it's the water, I guess, is what they say for like Brooklyn pizza or New York pizza.
Yeah, for New York,
But-
the water has something certainly to deal with
Yeah.
that.
It's that dirty New York water.
At the end of the day, though, you know, bread out the oven with cheese and sauce, unless you're using the world's worst ingredients, is roughly the same, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what changes is when you go to restaurant or chain restaurants where they start using preservatives and all this other weird stuff in it. So it's not really a huge thing.
There's a pizza place here called Doda's, and they have and they make New York pizza, like New York style pizza, and it's really good. It's like the closest thing to New York pizza that I've had outside of New York.
You're still in Phoenix.
It's really,
right?
really good.
Around there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna head down that way when I'm done with the book, because I got my
Yeah.
brother lives in Havasu, and I haven't seen Brandon in a few years. So
Yeah.
whenever he gets his own apartment, I'm gonna head down that way. We should go to Doda's. You know, bring your
Yeah, we
boyfriend
should go
or
to
whatever,
Doda's, yeah.
I'll hang out and say hi and everything, and I'll try that out.
Yeah.
Because the last pizza Tom we got, I was like, this is no good, man. Like, I don't know. You
Yeah,
know what?
like-
It was someplace near, and it wasn't bad, dude. I mean, he drove out of his way for this place. So I was super appreciative of it. But for the amount of time we waited, I was like, it's not that big a difference from a California pizza kitchen or something. You know, it wasn't
Yeah.
hugely different. You know? But I do love if does that have like the crunchy crust or the New York has that. You know what I mean? Like it can, or is it like the
It's
folding?
crispy.
Yeah, crispy. Yeah, I like the crispy.
Yeah, it's crispy. It's like not too thin, it's not too thick, like it's got like a good like crisp bite whenever you like bite into it, and like their sauce is good, their cheese is good. They used to do it where they would put the top on and then they would put the cheese like holds the toppings on the pizza, but they like stopped doing it that way, I guess. I don't know why, but now it's just a regular way. They put the cheese down and then the toppings on top. But yeah, no, it's really good. Mike and I go there every now and again. And he's like a pizza snob. Like
Yeah, well, he's
the
Italian,
people that
right?
like, yeah, he is. He's East Coast Italian. He's a fucking meatball sub snob and a pizza snob. If he says it's good, it's probably going to be pretty good. Like there's a place up by my house. It's called Yo Polly's, and they're Brooklyn style pizza too. But I think they changed something in the last like few years. Like I don't know. It's just not the same. It's still good, but it's not as good as it used to be. Which is like sad because they used to be really good. And I kept saying like, "Oh, Mike, we need to go here," but he lives in P, and I live like in Scottsdale, and it's like it would take him like 40 minutes to like travel like all the way across town for lunch to go to this place.
Right. Your
And
lunch is
so-
over by the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like he has to go pick up his kids, and it's just like it was more effort than it was ever worth. And so by the time, you know, like he actually made it out here, like they had like changed, and I was like, we're not going here because you're not gonna like it. And plus, like by now, I'm scared to show you any pizza place. So we're just like gonna eat it and like burn it down after.
Oh no! I'd be complimentary. I'll just talk shit on the podcast later about it. Like, but I hear you. Yeah, there's not a lot of great places to eat in Boise. I wish I could say there was, but there isn't. You know, there's some good places, but not a lot.
Right.
I mostly just make my own stuff. We have a decent Chinese takeout place. I mean, it's takeout. You know, they do a good job. Not a great job, but for takeout, you know, better than Panda Express and stuff like that. You know,
Right.
they're family owned, so I appreciate that. So I do that once a month or every other month, and then I'll alternate. There is a great. It's about 20 minutes away from here. She's called Mamai Thai. She's from Thailand, and she's actually like she's basically a 5-star chef. She just lives out here, and so she travels from here back to Thailand. She has her own setup shop, you know, like her own little pop-up thing that she does. Yeah. And so you're getting real authentic Thai food from her. That's super good. Sometimes you get the Thai experience though, where she didn't clean the oil out that day, right? Like, like I've learned before she plans on going the weekend before she goes back to Thailand for more training or whatever, and she goes to this culinary, the best culinary school out there, and she learns new stuff. And then she also helps out kids with like school shoes and stuff, so that she, you know, she's raising donations here all the time for that. Sure. Yeah. But before she heads back, she don't clean the oil out. You know what I mean? She's like, you know what I mean? So I'm like,
marinate, it'll be fine.
You're like, these are some dark egg rolls, you know, spring rolls or whatever, you know, it's a little dark, you know, like I know, you know. But no, she's really good. They got some decent boba flavors out here, actually.
I don't think I've ever had boba tea. Like, it's like all the rage out here. There's like so many shops out here.
Well, if you can find one that lets you try to cut down the sugar by half, because it tastes better when it's not too sweet. In my opinion. So we had.
Go ahead.
Well, this one place naturally does it, but there's a chain a chain of boba restaurants from Vietnam. What was it? I can't remember what it's called, but they put them in. You ever have like 99 store, like 99 Ranch? Do you ever hear that? It's like a big Asian market, so they got them all over in California. They would put them in there, but you could always ask for like half sugar, you know. And so I've always been like, if you can find someone that'll do that, I think you'll like it more, unless you like super sweet stuff. But
I like sweet stuff, but I don't like super sweet drinks. Like even like my like I like creamer in my coffee, but I don't like a really sweet coffee. Well, so I probably would like a half sweet like boba, just because like I don't know, if I don't like drinking sugar.
The boba's like kind of like a gummy in a way. So it's tapioca. So they're little tapioca balls. So they're a little sweet, kind of not too sweet, but they got a little bit, so like a little gummy in there. And then the drink itself is. You ever have Honey Smacks cereal?
Yeah.
You know what it tastes like, the milk afterward. It's the closest I can describe it to. It's kind of like that. Like If you get the original milk,
I do like that.
Yeah, it tastes kind of like that as a drink. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I do like that. That was like one of my favorite cereals.
Brandon had a decent boba place near his place when he lived in Mesa. That was years ago.
Does he still live in Mesa?
No, they got divorced, so he's living with his dad right now until he can get his own spot. She says he should be able to do this summer, finally. But
what does he do? Does he draw too, or no?
No, he does video production for the studio that does a bunch of stuff for Tony Robbins.
Okay.
Yeah. So he'll do extra graphic design stuff with me, but he runs video production over there. And he finally learned what like an ISO is, a LUT, and, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Summer is a brutal time to move.
I told him if I come down there, I'm not helping him move. You know, he didn't come up here to help me move, so I'm not coming down there to help him. That's how it works. But he's a big, strong guy. I'm sure he can do it.
Big, strong man.
Yeah. He's got all those muscles and stuff. He is funny. He bought one of. He bought her. He says he was given, but I don't know about that. But Mike gave him one of these shirts that was like. It looked like Jack Daniels, but it said tobacco on there. And I was like, "Oh, look at you! You're wearing Mike's shirt. Yeah, look at you, man." Hey. He's like, "Shut up, man." I'm like, "No, thank you. You can wear that. You know?
It's cute.
You gonna get the matching boxers? So man, look, I didn't, you know, I mean, I'm just a fan. I'm like, I know. Look at that. You're a real fan. Like,
You know, Mike might have gifted that to me because he said that like nobody was buying those shirts. So
I know. Seems like a
like,
good.
he might be telling the truth.
Coming from licensed tees, all those sound like a great idea on paper, right? And they look fine when you look at them, but there's a reality to what people will actually wear, and that's why like Urban Outfitters has like a 60 to 70% return rate. They legitimately had a 56% turn rate every Christmas. I don't know what it is now, but for years it was like, because people were like, oh, that's hilarious, I'll buy that, and then they return it, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah, so looks fine, but unless you're gifting them, I wouldn't sell that, you know.
Yeah. Well, he loves his Jack Daniels, so it's really in line with like his brand as like a person. I like though I'm gonna razz him a little bit because it comes to his brand. He clowned me once. It was a con I did in 2016. He was coming to pick up a commission for somebody that his girl he knew or something. Okay. He's like, yeah, she got a commission. I'm like, and he looked at my booth. He goes, Sketchcraft. He's like, yeah, she said Sketchcraft, and I was like, that's Rob. So he don't like using Sketchcraft because he knows me as Rob. I'm like, all right, yeah,
the Balfo.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Brandy guy. Okay, I get you. Sorry, no one can pronounce my last name. You know, we all can't be named.
I can't even pronounce your last name.
Right.
Like I told him, I was like, oh, you know, like Rob Dwight rides Rob Dunez, and he's like, just say Rob. Quit trying to say his last name. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know.
He's like.
There's
He's
just so
like
many
the only
Robs.
Rob I know. So I know who you're talking about.
I know. So I mean, that's why I was like, I gotta have something else here. You know, it's not helping me. And call me conspiratorial, but I have found both ways. I have found some studios not advancing me when they see my name's Hispanic. I've caught on to this, and I've also been approached by Hispanic groups who then disappear on me when they find out I'm white. Yeah. So like, I need this name it's my adopted name. It's not even my birth. So I'm like, I love my dad, but I was like, this name's not helping me one way or the other right now. So I need something else.
Well, did you have an option to keep your original last name over?
Yeah, but my original last name, my initials were Rag, R-A-G, but with Duenas, it's R-A-D. So that was my whole 8-year-old mentality, because we had to put, in the 80s, we had to put our initials on everything. Like when we had sack lunch or whatever, we had to initial. I was like, I get to put red on my, you know, this is the 80s, right? So I was like, red. Right. Kids hated me for it, you know, you get to put red. I'm like, that's my name. But that went away by 91. So like, you know. And I tried signing. I got a bunch of art with my signature says Rab, but no one really knows what that means. So
yeah,
you know, it's like, all right, I gotta figure something else out.
Well, it's like how Joe Mad signs his name Mad.
That was the idea.
Yeah,
that was the idea. But I don't draw as good as Joe Mad, so I gotta figure something else out.
I love him. I've been knowing who he is for a while, but like I haven't really ever looked at his work. And I found on his website he has like a bunch of like downloadable like low res like JPEGs and stuff. So I just like picked out the ones I liked the most, which was like 90 of them, and just like kept them, and I'll flip through them and look at it for like reference for like texture and movement and candle. I love the way he draws candles. And like stones and stuff. Like I wish he would not be selfish and put out a fucking art book. Like I would be all over that if he put out an art book with all of his like old game design stuff. But I'm sure like he can't because games, you know.
I know. Well, he owns his own companies. I think now the general rule though is after 2 or 3 years they kind of don't care. So it's not really the case. I just think he doesn't want to be in charge of any of that stuff. You know, so he doesn't do it. I mean, as long as I've been a fan of him, that's kind of how he's always operated, you know.
Yeah.
So if he's not interested in it, he just doesn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's so good. He doesn't.
Hey, he was drawn from Marvel at 16. That's how good he was.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's so nuts.
I know.
That's so crazy. No, I like his work a lot. Like his prop, like I like the way he draws people, but I like the way he draws like props and backgrounds and like environmental stuff like the best. I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot to it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm a shape design guy, so this stuff always appealed to me from a shape design perspective. You know?
Yeah, Mike said that because we were discussing his work like some months ago, and he was like, yeah, like Joe uses a bunch of like big shapes to define his characters and his elements and stuff. Like Red Monica, she's hair, boobs, and scarf. Like those are like her big shapes, like hair, boob, and scarves. And like he's got like this. I don't know what game it's for. I don't know what game it's for, but it's like this rat person, and he's wearing it's like a rat shaman like type thing, and it's like the big shapes are like his headdress, his bottom piece of like his outfit, and like the staff, like those are all like the big shapes, and he's just like building off of those. And it wasn't, I don't know, like it seems so obvious after Mike said something about it. He was like, well, yeah, like he uses a lot of big shapes to do all of his stuff, like all of his. I didn't know he did Sly Cooper. I never played it, but I used to love Sly Cooper's like art design and stuff whenever I was little, and I didn't know that was Joe Mad until recently. Just crazy.
Yeah, he's always been really great at shape design. I mean, I got into shape design through Garfield comics, if you can believe it. It wasn't like the Garfield and Odie that I cared about. It was everything else, the props. Like if you look at the way Garfield's drawn, everything has like a deliberate shape to it, you know? So in comics, to me, that kind of, I didn't start to see anything like that until like Todd McFarlane and them kind of showed up with the big shapes, you know? Joe Mad was like incorporating animation, you know, into that stuff, the principles of you know, to an extent, Don Bluth more than Disney and anything. And like at the time, I saw like J. Scott Campbell being more Disney and him being more Don Bluth meets Akira. You know, like if you could sort of put, and then eventually he works in the Warhammer bit. You know, and the kind of modern Joe Mad, you know, now has like a lot of that Warhammer stuff in there.
Yeah, he definitely has like more of like a Western like type feel. No, I'm sorry, Eastern.
In the 90s, they called him a Maramanga artist or whatever. Like Wizard was being kind of an asshole about it, but you know, you go to con and they go, "Oh, that American manga, Maramanga or whatever artists, so it's gonna go nowhere. They're gonna go anywhere with that. Don't be one of those guys." And I was always like, "Yeah, well, what are you doing? You know, like, no offense."
I do like manga's character designs and stuff. I think a little more than American traditional stuff, just because there's like more play. There's like more interesting aspects to a lot of their stuff. I think I like it better. They're more fun. Like for me, like when I get like requested to draw like Morgan or there's some anime characters I'm not familiar with. But sometimes at cons I'll get requested for like some anime character. God, it's not Wonder Woman.
Right.
Not again. Like when I sometimes when people ask me to draw Bowsette, I love drawing Bowsette. Like I know there's like nothing to her, and she was just a cosplay concept, but she's so much fun to draw. I love drawing her.
Yeah, the design Nintendo won't do when they should, right? Because they didn't think of it first. That's kind of how it comes across. You know? One day that will appear in a game. They just, you know, it's going to take someone who kind of grew up with it a little bit, you know, to get around the mentality. But it will happen.
Can you hear the scratching in my drawing board?
No, okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, people can hear me when I'm color penciling for certain, you know.
It's real. It's not AI.
I know.
These are the noises of art.
When I was when I first got to my first duty station in the army, they put me with this guy, really nice guy named Spicer. He's from the South, and he'd never met an artist before, so he just assumed, you know, at night he could just sleep without hearing the pencil sharpener going. That's when I discovered a light. He's like, turn the pencil. I'm like, nah, man, you're just gonna have to deal with it. You know, I'm working. So,
like, I'm going. Like,
yeah.
I'll sleep later.
Luckily, I was out of Germany, so I was able to go to their art supply stores, and that's where I found a lead holder for the first time. And I was like, oh, lead holder.
Is it Stadler?
Yeah, Stadler.
Yeah.
But they didn't have those here, you know. So
yeah.
I was like, yes, I don't have to use the pencil sharpener ever again, you know. Until I color pencil, but I stopped. No, I was still using color pencil in the army. I just did it on the weekend. I quit for like 20 years almost. I think. Yeah.
Drawing and color penciling.
Color pencil for between 2000, between the year 2000 and 2014 or 15, somewhere around there. So almost 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I killed my knuckles on one piece, and I was like, well, I guess I'm never doing this again. And it wasn't until I found the oil-based stuff, the polychromos, you know, and I had changed how I draw. Like when I was younger, I used to really press hard when I drew, and drawing digitally on the Cintiq taught me really to use my arm, and I could control the pressure. So I stopped drawing, you know, I didn't have to press. So, or strain. So really saved my art career. Some people go, oh, Cintiq. I'm like, yeah, but it saved my art career. I would have definitely blown my hand out back in 2008 or 9 if it wasn't for that. And so when I finally came back to color pencil, I was able to just not press very hard, you know. And those things give off so much pigment that it works, you know.
Yeah, I have a natural heavy hand as well, and it's taken a lot of work to not have a heavy hand.
Yeah.
It still comes and goes, but I have a little bit more control over everything at this point.
Well, that's also why I moved all my sketching to pen, so I never have a temptation. You know, I got one control, one flow of rate of pressure here. You know.
Right.
You know, when you give a character a real giant gun, and you're like, "Oh, this looks amazing! Oh, look at these details!" And then the next panel, they're super tiny. Like, oh, I really probably should have designed that gun out before I drew it on the last page. You know? It's not gonna exactly line up. Oh well. I figure with the Spawn book, they're used to that by now. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't doing anything they ain't seen before. And when we get pre-orders available, I'm going to start streaming me inking whatever pages I can that have already been shown. Because even though I'm drawing it digitally, I intend on having inked pages. So, normally I would just ink it and then do the digital over my drawing, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm just doing it the other way now. My friend was like, "Oh, it sounds like cheating." I'm like, "Well, you do know there are 21 copies of Starry Night, right? Van Gogh made 21 of those. Like,
That's crazy, isn't that?
Yeah, that's how they made money. I mean, he was a poor dude. So like there are multiple. There's at least a couple Mona Lisas. Like there's just not. You know, we had this idea where we were trained that there was like one and done, and it's like that one and done came from really commercial art being, you know, you're working in bulk. I take the bulk out. I'm like, all right, now it's like I got to make sure every little piece goes a long way.
Right.
Plus, it's a good way to work on something for a couple hours every day for another year. You know, I mean, it goes by faster being you're just, you know, inking over the lines you already did. So it doesn't really take you as long as it did to draw it. You're essentially tracing. Not really. But plus, I add pencil shade and stuff, dude, which is like something else I do to my pencils that never translates on the page when it gets colored or something. Like it doesn't look very good. So. Almost time. I just want to finish this character so bad I can get on with it. We'll have a whole team fight a giant monster and the city's blowing up. You know? Yeah. You know, I'll just whip that one
really
out.
Making your work and think.
Yeah. You know, I appreciate, you know, but then I'm like, you know, not healthy to grow up with Image Comics when you're a kid because you have this idea in your head of what you should be doing. Then there's a reality, and so I'm
you have this expectation for yourself.
Yeah, I won't let it go. Those that book I drew I was telling you about me and my friends, right? They started out as I used to draw me and my friends as a hockey team called the Mighty Spawns.
Okay.
Because, you know, the Mighty Ducks had come out when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what if he has a hockey team? Because Todd loved hockey at the time. He had sponsored a hockey team and stuff. And so, because he's from Calgary. So I used to draw us like, I was like, yeah, and then we would turn into spawns, and then it's spawn hockey. This idea of like sports superhero, it wouldn't happen in the 90s. People thought I was nuts. But I did get a page where I put in the kids, the Mighty Spawns, on the page. I put them all there. there's Little Rob, there's Little Rob's friends, all the Mighty Spawns with the logos, and they're all there. I made it happen, you know.
Oh, it's very cute.
Yeah, I was like, when it came time to color that page, I was like, I'm going to be very specific. Do not change these colors. I'm waiting 30 years for this one.
When I did Sworn Fest, we got around a panel and we got asked like, what was like your inspiration and stuff for growing up? Like, what was like the first comic book you ever held that made you think like, wow, like I really want to draw? And David, I don't remember what David Harrigan, like it's me, David Harrigan, and like this a girl named Sun K, and me and Sun like didn't have any like comic book like references. Basically, we were both like hers was like a Heavy Metal magazine,
right?
It was like her inspiration, and then Jamie Hewlett and like all like the gorilla stuff, you know?
Right.
And like crickets. I was like, I always feel like the odd one out because like I've never like really been into comics. I've always like cartooning and stuff, even though I don't draw cartoony. But
you're like,
was,
I don't like
like
comics.
Yeah, like, I don't like comics.
Right.
Will you still accept me at this comic convention for this company that does comics? Yeah, like the Gorillas like released like an art book a few years ago, and there's some really good stuff in there. Like some really, really good stuff. Like I love all of Jamie Hewlett's stuff. Like it's just so like angular. Which you think that like I would have like looking at his work, like my whole life you figured that I would have like more angular lines, like more masculine lines, like Pete Docter or whatever. But they're definitely like more fluid, soft, and like feminine. But yeah, there's a ton of artists in there. The guy, they hired a bunch of like they hired like a bunch of artists that they knew to draw the gorillas and stuff, and they hired Craig McCracken, like the guy that did Powerpuff Girls and like Dexter's Lab and stuff. I hired him, and they drew the Gangrene Gang, Murdoch, in jail with the Gangrene Gang. Like I'll send you a picture, but it's like really, it's really cute. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I've always had one hand in animation and in comics or whatever, and it's like, for me it was like the first Turtles comic was when I wanted to draw comics. I got the original Mirage stuff, right? It was they did these color trade paperbacks, the first publishing. I still have them, and some kid at school had it, and so I traded like a bunch of sodas for this comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This like art, this
Kid currency.
Yeah, I know, kid currency. But then then the cartoon comes out, and so I didn't really like the cartoon, but I appreciated the design. So I was there. For me, I was like, okay, I'm seeing cartoon turtles and comic turtles. Both these things can like exist, right? There can be this in between. Kind of how I put it together,
Yeah.
And but it was tougher, being 18, 19 and trying to get people to be like, even now when they see how I draw, they just go, oh, kids books. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, not kids books. I get how you feel that way, but there's a bunch of kids that still read there's a bunch of adults that still read Dragon Ball. I don't know if you've ever noticed Akira Toriyama, not the most realistic artist,
Right.
So
right.
it's like, gotta find a way to tap that without exactly drawing like that, right? So, I don't know if that's even possible. That's always the goal. I mean, sort of. See, if I'd done this, I would have never met my wife. But it's like I sort of wish I'd stayed in Europe because like there's just a more accepted cartooning's like accepted over there,
Right.
Versus here, they're like, oh, cartoons are for kids. I'm like, yes, little kids come out and draw all those fucking cartoons. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to watch those for kids. Yeah, who made that? The kids didn't make that,
I know, that was like my stepdad forever.
I find it hilarious that AI's ability to cartoon is total dog shit. Even those Simpsons ones are not good Simpsons art. It's like, it's hilarious. I'm like, yeah, even the computer can't get it down. I think, shape design, I think it's human experience and human
Oh yeah.
bias kind of controls a lot of that, and the end result. I just don't know if it's possible to. I mean, you can copy something that's already been done, but to get a new cartoon you've never seen, to get a Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, every now and then I jump on those midjourneys and go, all right, let's see if you can do a Bill Watterson now. Nope, still can't do it. Not even remotely close. So what is that? Well, that's. I mean, I'm not a religious man, but one would say that's the existence of a soul, right? If you believe in that sort of stuff. I mean, I kind of don't, but now it's making me a believer in some levels. I mean, I'm not going to go to church and shit, but it's like, something to it. Something to the way we perceive things. So even if someone goes, sort of what quote unquote realistic rendering, like, Todd did a lot of realistic rendering and Jim Lee, it's still cartooning. I still think cartooning is, you know, the more important thing than to say, you know, oh, I followed that actor's likeness verbatim. Like, I don't know if that's the way to do it.
Yeah, like even like the way like Mike draws, I still consider it cartooning. It's still like an exaggeration of like the figure, even.
And it's like, and this is not
like real.
This is not a critique of Brian at all. I'm just saying, I find it funny that his studio and then the ones that copy him, Zenoscope and all those, they copy the J. Scott Campbellness. But last I checked, Stephen Hughes was the one that made all that shit popular. I've never seen anyone draw like Stephen Hughes. Have you?
No.
No.
Maybe David Harrigan every now.
Mm-hmm.
But
I used to.
No.
My favorite thing to go into Comic-Con, and I've said this before, was Steven used to stand outside San Diego Comic-Con out on the right at the very far left towards the hotel. He'd stand out there on the steps. He'd just be out there sketching. You know, drinking his coffee, just, I don't know, enjoying the air or something. I never bothered to ask him why, but I would go there every year and be like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
And he had no line. I mean, he really tolerated the shit out of me, you know? Like, but I really love that Evil Ernie, you know? The first Evil Ernie. So.
Yeah, I love that it looks like Brian. I love that it's Brian, basically.
Right, yeah, 100%. I mean, the closest I've ever seen it is Stranger Things, right? Like,
right, exactly.
He knew it. The minute I saw him, like, that's fucking Brian. Like, just wait, and then he goes on the internet. I'm like, yep, there you go. Like,
there you go. There he is.
I mean, if they ever made an Evil Ernie, I know he doesn't own the character or something, but it's like, I wish he did. All these guys that lost their characters or whatever, it just bugs the fuck out of me, you know? So sad. He should have all that stuff.
No, he should have all that stuff. Like, he's got Lady Death, and like he protects her with every fiber of his being.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah, and I remember at the time they're like, "Oh, she's a bad girl." I'm like, "You obviously never read the story. She's Freddy Krueger." You know, like, but she's deaf. Like, I mean, it's just like you guys are missing. You're missing it. You know.
Yeah.
It's not. But I mean, Stephen Hughes is one of the great cartoonists of the '90s. Gets no real credit for it. I'm not saying by Brian. I'm just saying by the industry. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that anything he drew, the Lady Death book, it looked better than any of the monthly comics coming out. You know, like.
How did he pass away?
You know, I cannot remember. You know, I'm brain farting. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm not very good at why people died. You know, like I'm not one of those people. Let's see. '46. God damn it, my age. Oh no, he had a long battle with cancer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, sucks.
Yeah. Oh, he was living in Scottsdale.
Oh, what do you know?
Yeah. But he was super nice guy. Super nice.
Yeah, I always hear like really nice things about him. And there are people who talk about him.
He wore the nerdiest glasses I've ever seen.
He did.
Yeah. And he did not care. Those are some nerdy glasses. Who am I to tell him?
He's just here to draw. You don't wear you don't wear glasses, do you?
I do, but not to draw, to see or to drive and to see at distances.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Yeah, no, up close I got perfect vision, but the problem is my eyes have relaxed at drawing level. So anything beyond that is a total blur now. It's really great.
Yeah. No, same. I mean, I keep them on when I draw, but I do have to be like 8 inches from my paper to be able to see proper.
I just got this headshot, and it's hair. I don't have a problem with hair, but this girl has a real particular freaking hairstyle. And it's like, can I do this fast? I like ribbon hair. That's my thing.
There's a guy that I follow. I can't remember his name. There's a guy I follow on Instagram. He draws like paper hair. Like his hair is like real flat. And
Yeah. Polygonal. Right?
Looks like paper. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that style. It's pretty cool. Looks great for like digital painting, right? Like.
Yeah.
It really works with like oil painting style because you have like real flat. So you have the surfaces, you know, and they really pop out. Yeah. But I need my drawings to move, so ribbons it is. Move!
Yeah, I like real flowy hair for moving. Like even on this thing that I'm doing, but I could have more like whips and curls and turns and stuff in it, but we'll see.
It sounds all great till you got to do panel 92.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, that's why I don't do it, Rob. Stop drawing interiors. You don't have to worry about all that. Like, I know. I know. Yeah, I really wish. I'm a fan of the artist who drew Battle Chasers 10, Ludo Lullaby. He's a super good artist. He's really quite a brilliant artist. But I really wish Joe Mann had drawn that. It just doesn't look like Battle Chasers to me. You know, it could have been a good Battle Chasers issue 10. How about that? Doesn't look like Battle Chasers issue 10.
Is that the one that he just put out?
Yeah, he didn't draw it. Yeah. And what's kind of a bummer about it is it kind of got kickstarted was when he did the Kickstarter for Battle Chasers the game back in 2016. And I remember this because I backed it, but my wife and I were on the road in Colorado, and I went to Casa Bonita when it was still horrible. Like, it's cool now. Matt and Trey Stone bought Casa Bonita and turned it into the thing you'd want to go to, but I went to the real shitty one. That was an experience. It's quite horrible. But one of the things that kind of put the game, it wasn't really on track, and then he said he'll draw Battle Chasers issue 10, and I had already jumped in, but it hit the mark quickly after that. So, you know, that comic never appeared, and then you know, Ludo worked with them on the games and stuff, so he brought Ludo in. It's like, I get it, but I really wish this wasn't called issue 10. I wish it was its own series, if that's what you're gonna do, you know. But
yeah,
I'm not gonna post that online, you know, like because I'm a fan. I don't want, you know, people take things the wrong way. You know? I don't think I should be drawing Battle Chasers issue 10, if you catch my drift, you know.
Yeah.
Or even.
I mean, how long had he been doing Battle Chasers before, like, number 10? Like, it had been a while since he put out a new one.
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was right about the 20-year mark, so about 18. But it was but you know, by the time it came out, it's 20 years. Yeah, because it came out because the last issue of Battle Chasers was what, 99 or 2000 around there. So
that's
20
crazy.
years. And so it's like,
God.
I then just don't do it. Like, I hate to be that guy, you know, like, do a different Battle Chase. I mean, J. Scott Campbell did other Danger Girl series at IDW with different artists, like Nick Bradshaw and Phil Noto and stuff. So it's like, but don't call it Danger Girl issue 8. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Like that, you know. I feel sorry for the poor bastard who has to take over this book. You know, like, they're like, they don't want me back. We got someone else. I'm like, well, good luck, you know.
Yeah.
Not my problem.
Yeah, it'll definitely have a very different look feel if he gives it to somebody else.
They'll go, well, I had to make a deadline. I'm like, not Rob. You get yourself a 2-income household, you'll be able to push those deadlines out a little bit further. I think I did it. All right. I may have to. I don't know. The characters I invented, other than some villains, are super easy to draw. But all their characters, it's like, these are not meant. These characters were not meant to be drawn like the Avengers. Last I remember, Spawn was like, there was like 1 Spawn in a book. I didn't know there was like 5 Spawns, 6 Spawn. I don't know, it was designed to be. They're doing, I don't know how those guys draw the monthly books, like Scorch and stuff. I mean, I guess Brett and then they just do real loose pencils and someone inks. I'd have to do, I guess that's what I'd have to do. I have to do like really loose stuff that someone finishes. I do not know.
Yeah, it sounds like to get it fast, like that's what you have to do. Sometimes I wish I did that. Sometimes I wish because like my roughs are like pretty tight. Like I could send this to somebody and just have them ink my roughs. And I could just move on to the next thing. But there's like only 2 people in the world that I think that I would trust to ink my stuff. I'll just finish it myself. Oh, I don't think I ever got to answer your question about Brian and his contract thing.
Oh yeah, they got y'all locked up and stuff, right?
Yeah, he has me on for a year, and I think my year is up in August. So I'm hoping I hope that he gives me another year after that, because I'm really getting into the groove of figuring out these characters. Because as much as I would like to be, I'm not naturally like dark reading, scary. I like a lot of cute stuff like pop-up girls, stuff like that. I like dark stuff too, but it's really harder for me to think like dark like that. So like I'm just now starting to get like the grasp of his characters and like the whole coffin world. So I'm hoping that keeps me on for another year.
Should do some more adultish Rainbow Bright, right? Like redesign her for the modern age.
I should.
Yeah.
Like strawberry shortcake.
I was a Rainbow Bright strawberry shortcake. It drove my dad nuts. I was like, I like the colors, man. The toys smell great. He's like,
yeah,
wasn't cool for the boys to be doing that in the 80s, but my mom didn't care, so he won. My dad stopped caring at all because I wouldn't give up toys by the 5th grade. I was like, no, I like these things. They're a good reference.
Right.
You're supposed to give that up. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's ever happening. I have a Rainbow Bright. I had the Rainbow Bright Funko Pop. It's right on the shelf.
That's cute.
Yeah. I gotta get her name, but the artist that designed Strawberry Shortcake she's still alive. She's like almost near in her 90s or something. But
Oh
she
my
still
God.
sells original artwork. Like she does commissions.
That's
and stuff.
crazy.
And she apparently that's her art style. It's not like a design. Like, that's just how she draws. I guess she doesn't see any
Well, that's pretty big and
royalties
cute,
though.
then.
I don't think she sees any royalties from that though. I think Hallmark owns it outright. I've been telling myself, if I buy another piece of artwork, I think I'll just get something from her.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Be really unique because nobody draws like her.
Yeah, I mean, it's her. You're like, yeah, I guess an older woman would do that. Like, yeah, I can see that. Knits, probably. Crochets. Like, I like it. Leave me alone. All my cousins were girls anyway, so it was like, they loved that. I love that stuff. I was like, my cousin Rosie, her mom is half Korean, so they lived in like the Asian part of town. And in the 80s, they had access to Sanrio before that was a thing, you know.
Okay.
And so I was like, I love this Hello Kitty. I took that to school one day, and all the kids had the Transformers and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, but shape design, you know, it's shape design.
Right. Very round.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Very round shapes.
Mm. Thank God Mega Man and Mario came out, because then I could get them on my side with some of this stuff. Like, but, yeah. If Brian didn't pick up your contract again, were you just gonna do your own thing?
I mean, I have other retailers and stuff that I could like fill in that spot, but yeah, I mean, I have like a bunch of like rough sketches and stuff, like what I just sent you, like just piled up, and I want to release like a rough, like a J. Scott Campbell's like rough stuff like type book.
Sure.
And I would probably just like work on that, but I need to, and like have like a couple characters and stuff like that I want to design like for myself, and then I would just probably just put that like on like the front of that book, like the rough version of that product, I think. But yeah, like I always have, like I generally have like a full schedule. I do like 4 to 5 covers a month, depending on like what's run, between like retailers and people that like are doing like their own like comic books now and everything. So like the pinup thing is like really strong, I guess. I mean, I keep getting work, so
Nice.
but I try to do like different stuff and different more extreme like foreshortening and everything, and nobody ever picks those.
No. They just want the pinups.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
she's still sexy, but like her boots
Yeah. Nope.
are
No.
more
no,
prominent. Like
No.
I could give her some really kick-ass shoes, you know.
No, that's the
That'll
anime
sell.
crowd.
Like,
No.
yeah.
You gotta start drawing anime stuff for that. The
Yeah,
dynamics there, go to Anime Con. But if you're going for, I'm not gonna call it cheesecake. I don't have a better explanation for it, you know. But if you're looking
right.
for
Oh,
that,
it is. It's cheesecake covers. Yeah.
they just want them posing. I've been there, and I was like, once I started changing things, I was like, okay, one of us needs to quit. Guess it'll be me.
Yeah.
You know, so I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it, but sometimes, you know, like as a creative, like you do want to be able to draw stuff, like more challenging things to keep yourself interested.
Here's what you need to do.
A lot.
Here's what you need to do. Okay. What
Yeah.
you need to do is find a way to hang out with J. Scott Campbell and tell him to do more
okay.
dynamic shit, and then, right, once he does it,
Yeah.
then they'll let you do it.
Yeah.
See how it works.
I gotta get him with his wife. I gotta meet his wife.
You gotta make friends with his wife, yes, and then get him, you know, because I'm telling you, that's all it is. And it sucks. They won't, but that's how the industry works. Right? Oh, he did it. Now we want it. Like, oh, genius.
Yeah, like Mark Brooks doesn't really even do it. Like, you know who Mark Brooks is, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know who Mark Brooks is. Yeah, you know who Mark Brooks is.
Yes.
Like you've seen Mark
since
Brooks,
the
like,
lead heavy days, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, like Mark Brooks doesn't even do it, which I'm surprised. Like he does like crazy angles on faces, but he doesn't really do a lot of things with like bodies and stuff.
Well, they
like
lose.
foreshortened limbs.
They lose. The more you mess with it, they can not look like themselves. And and to be honest, people pay for portraits. That's kind of what they're paying for, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why, like, I saw some amazing people turn in cover submissions to Todd. I was looking at Instagram. Some of them are super dynamic, and I'm like, Todd's a dynamic dude, but that might be too much for Todd. Like sometimes they think, you know, like you got to push, but then pull back a little bit, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know why,
Like,
but that's the way it is.
Like I'll send you.
Yeah.
I sent them. Like, how do we say this? Yeah, I wanted the first one. And like having her like go back in space a little bit.
Right.
And then give her like really cool shoes. But I mean I would have been fine drawing any one of these. But I generally try to give myself things I don't. I wouldn't like not want to draw, you know? Because otherwise you're just gonna hate the entire process of drawing a piece. Like why did I give them the thing I don't want?
Yeah, you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Because they will pick that one. They'll pick the one that's your least favorite if you if you do that. So
they will.
If like I would have been happy with like any one of those, but I really wanted A just to.
I only did one.
Play a little bit, I think.
You guys can't see this, but I'll send it to Marissa. I only did one thing with multiple cover options. The other ones, they were like, one was like requested, and the other one I said I'm just gonna do this homage. But I'll send you these. Like I sent these over for. Here, come on, copy. Is it two? There we go. And it was like,
okay,
yeah, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to draw this. You know, like, yeah, I don't know why I gave him some of these ideas. You know, like I better nail the energy on this. You know, like, So it's just like you never know which way they're gonna go.
Which one did they pick?
They picked the truck. You know, they released that one. This is, yeah. So.
That's cute.
So they released a Violator truck back in like '93 with the first wave of Spawn toys, but it didn't have a tongue. And I went to the toy booth at Comic-Con, Todd Toys. It had just become a Farming Toys, and they had the molds for the second wave of toys there. And there's this older woman, and I was bugging her about, how do you say Malbolgia? She's like, it's Malbolgia. I'm like, oh great. Okay. By the way, the Violator truck should have had a sticky tongue, like sticky hand, like a big sticky tongue. Like we out. She was just looking at me. How old are you? I'm like, old enough to buy your toys. You know. Yeah, like I get it. It was made for 8-year-olds. I'm like, well, you know, like someone designed it, you know, like, and they should have designed it with a giant sticky tongue. So this cover was my way of giving it little truck. It's the same truck. I just made it like a go-kart. You know?
Right.
Yeah. Whatever.
No, I love all the colors on it. I love the orange and the like the blue of the background.
Yeah. Rob did a great job. I just I got him to tone down saturations. I think that was the only thing that was initially kind of like was a little too anime. I was like, turn it back a little bit.
I love saturated colors. Like I use Headwind a fair bit for my colors, and he like nails like the video game saturation on a lot of my pieces. And then I use this guy named Elmer, and he does pretty good saturation too. But it's weird. Like he does like pastel-y saturation. It's very like
color is
Ghibli like type.
Yeah, color is very what do you call it? It's relative or whatever. It changes by what's next to it. So I'm like, the character's kind of tiny as it is, and he's got like a red cape thing, and if you have a super saturated orange explosion, you're not going to look at the character, you're going to look at the explosion.
Right.
You look at the center. So that's like it's where I have to like with colors, I'm like, I get what you're doing. Try not to color, how do I say this? Try not to let the colors redirect the focus. You got to use the colors to direct the intended focus.
Right.
And that's always that thing, you know. It's like I didn't spend all this time composing this to have then. Your hope is that once they dial it in, you don't have to do anything, you know. And it's gotten that way for the most part. But some things are just like, no, my focus was here, now it's there. So. Yeah. Well, that's it for the complicated characters. Thank God. I was going to make some quick stir fry tonight, but I forgot to make my brown rice. Takes like 90 minutes. So, what to do for dinner?
Plan B.
Plan B is always not good food for you. You know, guess I'll make spaghetti. You know,
yeah. No, Plan B is never good for you.
Yeah, I try to keep the not good for me meals to Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
So.
No, I like making this. It's, I guess a salad. I don't know. I make like chicken, and then I mix it with like red avocado, cilantro, and lime, and then I put it over like a bed of like green spinach and kale, like collard greens or whatever.
My advice is
like
go light on the spinach or cut it out and replace it with rainbow chard. There's
chard, that's what it is. Chard. Yeah.
You want chard, not spinach. Spinach actually will give you kidney stones. So chard is also like 8 times better in nutrients than spinach.
Oh, okay.
Spinach. You know why there's so much spinach? Because there's a spinach lobby. You go to the store, it's everywhere. Stay away from it. So, like, I only make it once every now and then when I make like my wife likes this Alfredo chicken. It's so not. There's no such thing as Alfredos. It's the Midwest version of pasta. You know, like green bean casserole. It's like a white sauce, you know, with sun-dried tomatoes and chicken, you know. And instead of pasta, I put it over roasted cauliflower because it's got enough fat in that damn sauce. But I mix in spinach, you know. But on a salad, I replace it with the chard, and you know, you're good to go.
Yeah, I get like these bags like mixed greens, and it's got like kale. Yeah, I've never had collard greens. I just couldn't think of like the chard.
Collard greens you're not eating in salad. You gotta prepare those.
No. No.
Yeah.
Not eating those. It's got like kale in it, chard, and spinach. And it might have something else in it. I don't remember. It might just be the 3, but it might be 4. But I was eating that for like a long time, and then I stopped cooking for a while. I just couldn't get myself to anything for forever, it felt like. So I'm starting to get like back on again. I'm pretty excited about it. So it's been like one of my things that I've been eating for lunch is the chicken and the vegetables and everything. I love avocado. It's one of my favorite things to eat.
Good once a week, don't have a daily. Yeah, it's excellent once a week. This page, I'm telling you. They save it right for you at the end, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, sorry, we walk away from the script like Homer in the bushes, you know?
Yeah. Sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You're like, you wrote that in a minute. You know how many hours that's going to be for Rob? You know? Like, okay. Gotta draw 2 more chibi spawns tonight and then composite all this together. And that's fine.
When do you start your workday? Like,
I'm drawing by.
afternoon?
Well, I get up at between 6:30 and 7. I walk for an hour to 90 minutes. It's a walk plus an upper body workout. Then I make breakfast and all that stuff for the wife and me. Then I start drawing by 10 a.m. I go from about 10 to 12 or 10 to 12:30 around there. Take about an hour off, and then I go from between 1:30 and 2 to now, and then I come back around 8:30. So I put in about 10 hours a day, between 9 and 10.
Okay, yeah.
9 and 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds actually pretty similar to like my days. Like, I start my day like a lot later. Like I'll get up like between 7 and 8:30. I get up between 7 and 8:30, and I take my dogs on a walk, and then I'm usually like at my desk by like 9:30, like 10-ish, depending on my morning. And then I'll eat lunch around like 12:31.
Yeah.
I'll probably start drawing again around 2:30-ish.
My natural mode,
5 or 6.
my natural mode, like how I would do it, would be I'd get up around like 4 and go to sleep at 8. But no one wants to live that schedule, but other than me.
Like 4 a.m.?
Yeah, I work way better.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god,
That
you
was
crazy, man.
on my own. If I weren't doing this book, that's the schedule I'd be on. But you know, it's the way it works. So wife needs consistency, and I'm like, fine. But I'm like, you know, especially if I were single, I'd be like, oh man, at 4 a.m. to 8 is the best. But whatever.
That's crazy. I did that. I went to Victoria's Secret, did the 4 a.m. shift to the noon, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that again.
I love having 9 hours of drawing in before noon. You know?
Right.
Love it. So
I'm also not like I'm super not a morning person. I am.
Yeah, don't talk to me.
I'm
not getting up and doing the Mary Poppins jig of joy. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, but my dogs don't want to bother me if they want to sleep. So you know, it's like,
yeah.
But I do fine. I just can sit here in the total darkness and work, you know, peacefully. So it is weird, but like I said, you know, because she started working from home back when COVID hit, and she's just full remote now. So it's like,
right,
all right, you know, like if I'm gonna have any time to eat a dinner together, you know, like it's not gonna work that way. So
right,
whatever. And apparently people don't like you going for a walk down the street at 5 a.m. You know? I don't know why.
You just look, you're
doing the army. They always say thank you for your service until you start doing the army stuff in the real world. Then they're like, it's weird. I'm like, it is a little bit.
Well, how do you walk down the street? Are you like marching down the street? Or you just walking?
No, but a 6'2" guy just walking around a track, you know, for an hour and a half, kind of, You know, the problem is that the park that I walk in, it's surrounded by
Uh-huh.
homes, wealthy people's
Oh,
homes.
okay.
And so,
Okay.
I have the house I own is in a very wealthy neighborhood, but this is not a wealthy home. The person who built the neighborhood built this extra little house for his daughter,
Oh,
and she had 3 kids, and it cannot fit 3 kids, and so they sold it in 2017. I picked it up right before it all went to shit, you know.
yeah.
So everyone around me has like $1 million home. I do not have $1 million home. But when you're out in the park walking at 5 a.m., there are dogs, you know what I mean? Or they don't want to look out their back window, see a guy back there. And I wear the lights and stuff, so it annoys everyone, but whatever. I go at 7 now, so I don't have to hear about it. I do like walking at dark and then get there when the sun wakes. Ah, it's so nice. I like being the only one awake. Put it that way.
Yeah, I gathered that you like being the only one awake.
Yeah, that's what I like. I don't, you know.
It's peaceful, yeah? No one's bothering you.
Yeah.
Like, I know like a lot of artists and stuff, like they for working at night versus like during the day. And I don't know, I just like, I can't do that. I mean, not that I can't do it, I guess I just don't do it. Is the better way to say that.
Well, it's not safe, you know, walking at night.
Yeah.
Especially for, you know, a woman.
Right.
Sad to say, I wish we lived in a more safer world, but we don't. So, and if I wasn't in the wealthy neighborhood, I wouldn't walk at 4 a.m. in my neighborhood. I was living in San Diego. Oh no!
Right.
We had a guy who got crossbowed once. Like they crossbowed him.
Oh my god!
yeah. So you know, not there. Here, yeah, it's fine. Like, yeah. So, whatever. Alrighty, I gotta go make dinner, Marissa.
Okay, go make dinner. I should probably dinner too.
Yeah, thanks for hanging
Okay,
out with
yeah.
me. Anytime you want to hang out, you let me know.
All right, I will. I'll talk to you later.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.
All right, everybody, that's that. I'll be back on in a few, and we will continue some video. I think I'm gonna replay. Maybe I'll replay the Sonic just to wrap up the whole Knuckles Tails thing. How about I do that? I'm gonna go make dinner, and then I'll be back here in about 2.5 hours ish or so. So 2 hours, somewhere. 6:30. So yeah, between 8:30 and 9, I'll be back. So maybe even earlier. I don't know. So that 8 o'clock to 8:30 is weird. Sometimes I'm in the mood, sometimes I'm not. So watch. Look at that cute little nose on Knuckles. Look at that. It's like a little gumdrop. All right, everybody, I gotta go. Peace.